They thought they were attacking a simple dog training facility. They came armed with military-grade weapons, trained mercenaries, and the ruthless leadership of a former Special Forces commander. But what the Los Guerreros Muertos Cartel didn't realize was that Hope Valley wasn't just any facility. It was a fortress built on discipline, strategy, and the unmatched skill of America's most elite military working dogs. What happens when the world's most dangerous cartel meets a defense unlike anything they've ever seen? When battle-tested K9 units operate as true warriors alongside their handlers? And when a leader like Amanda Collins refuses to back down? The cartel came expecting an easy victory. Instead, they walked into a war zone where the real soldiers had 4 legs, razor-sharp instincts, and the kind of training that would change warfare forever. But will Hope Valley's defenses be enough when El Fantasma unleashes his most ruthless attack yet? Stay with us until the very end to see how this unprecedented battle unfolds and what it means for the future of military working dogs worldwide. It took us so long and so much effort to make this video, so please take a second to subscribe to the channel and like the video. It really helps us out. Also, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. Now let's get back to the story. The stretch of land separating Texas from Mexico has long been a battlefield, but tonight it's turned into something far worse, a full-scale war zone. The Los Guerreros Muertos Cartel has just made a fatal miscalculation, storming the Hope Valley K9 Training Center with a squad of 30 heavily armed men. Expecting nothing more than an ordinary dog training facility, they have unknowingly walked into a stronghold guarded by America's most elite 4-legged warriors. There's Rex 2, a battle-hardened Belgian Malinois with 3 combat deployments under his collar. Then there's Ghost, a white German shepherd whose keen instincts once saved an entire Special Forces unit from an ambush. Thunder and Shadow, 2 legendary tracking dogs, have spent years relentlessly pursuing cartel smugglers across 4 different states. And finally, there's Diego, a wounded veteran who refuses to be counted out, determined to prove his fight is far from over. For Amanda Collins, this isn't just an attack. It's a direct challenge to everything she's built, a declaration of war against every dog and handler who has ever dedicated their lives to service. Watching the flames engulf parts of her facility isn't just painful. It's a reminder that the cartel made one crucial mistake, underestimating what these dogs are capable of. As the first light of dawn spills over the vast training grounds, Amanda conducts her routine morning inspection. Her boots crunch against the gravel path as Rex 2 moves in perfect silence beside her, his sharp gaze scanning the terrain with the practiced awareness of a soldier. The facility spans 50 acres of rugged Texas borderland, reinforced with high-security fencing, state-of-the-art kennels, and top-tier training arenas designed for military precision. Her radio crackles to life. Jason Reyes, her head trainer and a former Border Patrol agent, sounds tense. "Amanda, got something at the south fence." She immediately alters course, noting the subtle shift in Rex 2's posture. His ears perk forward, his muscles taut with anticipation. Even before Jason can elaborate, Amanda knows something is wrong. "On my way. What are we looking at?" "Fresh cuts in the wire," Jason reports as she approaches. Whoever did it knew what they were doing, almost missed it. Amanda crouches beside him, her sharp eyes scanning the break in the fence. The damage is minimal, precise, far from the work of careless trespassers. This was intentional. Rex 2nd moves methodically, sniffing along the perimeter, his disciplined search pattern a testament to his rigorous training. "How long ago?" she asks, her mind already running through possible scenarios. Jason doesn't hesitate. "Judging by oxidation, I'd say sometime last night. They're testing us." Kevin O'Brien, the head of security, joins them, his movements calm and deliberate. Years of experience as an Army Ranger have made him unshakable. "Found 2 more spots like this on the east side," he informs them. "They're probing for weaknesses." Amanda straightens, scanning the horizon. The barren stretch of land extending toward Mexico is deceptively quiet, but she knows better. Somewhere out there, Los Guerreros Muertos are watching, waiting, planning their next move. "Get Dr. Cheng down here," she orders. "I want every dog evaluated. They'll have sensed something before we did." Despite the undercurrent of tension, the facility's operations continue. Handlers work their dogs through rigorous drills, maintaining the structured routine that has kept them sharp. Meanwhile, Kevin's security team methodically reinforces every potential weak point. Inside the medical building, Dr. Rachel Chang, the facility's veterinarian, moves from one dog to the next, assessing their behavior. "They're not nervous," she tells Amanda after completing her evaluations. "They're hyper-focused, like they're bracing for something." Thunder and Shadow remain on patrol with their handlers, their tracking skills unmatched when it comes to detecting intruders. Ghost, ever vigilant, stands guard near the main building, his powerful frame poised in readiness. Amanda crosses her arms, exchanging a glance with Jason. "Remember when they said cross-training the dogs was a waste of time?" she mutters. Jason gives a knowing nod. "They called it overkill. Said teaching drug dogs tactical response was unnecessary." His jaw tightens. Los Guerreros Muertos is about to learn exactly why we did it. Inside the command center, Kevin and his team pore over the night's security footage. The grainy images on the screen show dark figures moving with a calculated precision that sets them apart from common cartel thugs. "These guys know what they're doing," Kevin states grimly. "Their formation, their approach, this is organized." Amanda's eyes narrow. Salvador Torres doesn't take losses lightly. That drug bust we helped with, that put a dent in his operations. Jason's voice is heavy with certainty. "Word on the ground says he's taking this personal. He gave the order himself." By midday, a familiar patrol car kicks up a cloud of dust as it pulls up to the facility's main gate. Sheriff Eric Thompson steps out, his expression serious. "Got some intel you need to hear," he tells Amanda. "Cartel's moving heavy hardware across the border, military grade." Amanda absorbs the information, her mind racing through the implications. From the nearby training area, she watches Diego, one of their newest arrivals, working through his rehabilitation drills. The scars of his past service run deeper than the wounds on his body, but despite everything, his spirit remains unbroken. He isn't the only one preparing for what's coming. Every dog, every handler, every trained warrior at Hope Valley knows the fight is far from over. And this time, they won't be the ones caught off guard. "The way they see it, we're just a training center," Amanda finally says, her voice steady. "That's their mistake." As the evening deepens, she gathers her team in the underground briefing room, the dim lighting casting long shadows on the concrete walls. 15 hardened faces stare back at her, each one a seasoned expert, hand-picked for their skill and dedication. Former military operatives, law enforcement officers, and special forces personnel. All of them found new purpose at Hope Valley, and tonight, that purpose is clear. Kevin steps forward, his tone matter-of-fact as he lays out their choices. "We've got 3 options: evacuate, call in reinforcements, or we show them exactly what this facility was built for," Amanda interjects, her eyes sweeping over the room. "Every dog here is a veteran, every handler is a warrior. It's time to remind the cartel why they fear our K9 units." Outside, the setting sun paints the sky in brilliant streaks of orange and purple. Hope Valley's vast training grounds stretch toward the horizon, bathed in the fading glow of daylight. Amanda makes her final rounds, checking defensive positions and reviewing strategies. At her side, Rex Tex moves like a silent shadow, his unwavering focus a reflection of everything this facility represents. In the distance, a thin trail of dust rises against the darkening sky. Vehicles moving along the remote backroads. The Los Guerreros Muertos are closing in, but what they don't realize is that Hope Valley is not a target, it's a fortress. Tonight, the cartel will learn firsthand what it means to face not just trained dogs, but an unbreakable brotherhood of warriors who never truly stop serving. Amanda slows her pace, looking down at Rex till his ears are up, his stance rigid, every muscle in his body coiled with anticipation. She places a hand on his head, feeling the steady energy beneath his fur. "Time to show them what you can do, boy," she murmurs, then lifts her gaze toward the facility's defenders. "All of you." The night deepens, shadows stretching across the compound like silent sentinels. Across the grounds, 30 pairs of keen eyes remain locked on the darkness beyond the fence, scanning, waiting. The cartel thought they could send a message by targeting Hope Valley. Instead, they are about to become an example, a brutal lesson in why you never ever underestimate American military dogs, retired or not. Inside the command center, the blue glow from the monitors casts eerie reflections against the walls. Amanda stands with Kevin, her arms crossed as she watches the thermal imaging feeds. It's been 2 hours since nightfall, and the motion sensors have already picked up movement in the surrounding hills. Kevin's jaw tightens as he marks yet another location on the digital map. That's the 4th vehicle in the last hour. He taps the screen, tracking the slow, calculated movement of a heat signature, traveling along a distant dirt road. They're staging for something big. Amanda shifts her gaze to Rex II, who hasn't budged from his post near the monitors. The Belgian Malinois remains locked in a rigid stance, his piercing eyes following the shifting images. He senses what's coming. "Jason, how are the dogs reading this?" she asks through the radio. Jason's response is immediate, his voice steady. elevated awareness across all units, no distress, no wasted energy. These aren't security dogs barking at shadows, they're combat veterans reading the battlefield. Amanda exhales slowly, absorbing the words. Everything about tonight's preparations has unfolded like clockwork, every handler knowing their station, every dog understanding their role. This is what Hope Valley was designed for, though she never imagined they'd have to test it under these conditions. Kevin adjusts the settings on the thermal feed, narrowing the focus. Remember Fusa, when we integrated K9 units with response teams overseas? His tone is reflective yet firm. That's where this whole idea started. Amanda nods, memories flickering in the back of her mind. Those deployments had been brutal, but watching those dogs move in seamless coordination with the teams had been a revelation. She'd built Hope Valley around that very concept, despite all the skeptics who claimed it couldn't be replicated in civilian training. Before she can reply, Dr. Rachel Chang's voice crackles over the radio. Amanda, you need to see this medical building now. Amanda wastes no time. The medical facility is one of the most fortified locations in the compound, its reinforced walls designed to house both the veterinary division and a secondary command center. Inside, Rachel is at a workstation rewinding footage from the day's training sessions. Look at their movement patterns, Rachel says, pointing at the screen. The video plays in crisp detail, showing the dogs running through what should have been routine drills, but something is different. Amanda leans in, watching with growing fascination as the footage continues. They're not just going through exercises, Rachel continues. They're forming defensive lines. Watch here, Ghost and Thunder. They've been systematically marking landing zones and approach routes. Amanda's brows furrow as she studies the footage. The dogs aren't responding to commands. They're making tactical decisions. Rachel shakes her head in amazement. They remember their combat training. Her voice lowers slightly. And Diego? Amanda watches as Diego moves through his exercises, something about his posture different than before. His PTSD episodes are gone, Rachel states, completely. He's locked in mission mode. Outside, the facility's lights carve small pockets of brightness into the darkness. Amanda steps away from the screen, her pulse steady as she processes the implications. The handlers aren't the only ones preparing for battle, the dogs are doing it too. At the perimeter, Jason approaches with Shadow at his side, the Dutch shepherd moving like a phantom in the night. His eyes gleam under the moonlight, every step precise. Jason keeps his voice low as he delivers his next update. Ground teams are picking up increased radio traffic. Amanda turns toward him, instantly alert. Cartel? Jason nods. Spanish, heavily encrypted, but we're getting fragments. Amanda exhales, glancing toward the dark horizon. The storm is coming, and Hope Valley is ready. Let's hear it, Amanda says, her voice sharp with focus. Jason taps a button, and through the static a voice crackles over the speaker, speaking rapidly in Spanish. Amanda listens intently, her expression darkening as she processes the words. When she finally translates, her tone is edged with fury. They're not just coming to destroy the facility, she says grimly. They want the dogs. Kevin's jaw tightens. They think they can reprogram them for cartel work? His laugh is cold, humorless. They really have no idea what they're up against. Outside, the night stretches thick and heavy over Hope Valley, cloaking the terrain in an eerie stillness. But silence is deceptive. The quiet hum of drone motors slices through the air, the cartel's reconnaissance efforts growing bolder as they test the facility's aerial defenses. Amanda's team is ready. With a single silent command, their countermeasures activate. Signal jammers pulse to life, creating an invisible dome over the compound, cutting off external surveillance. The drones flicker and veer off course, their feeds scrambling into static before they can relay any useful intelligence back to the cartel. In the kennels, thunder stirs. The Belgian Malinois lifts his head, ears twitching as he tracks something beyond human perception. He doesn't bark, his military training dictates otherwise. Instead, his posture shifts, muscles taut with subtle yet precise body language that his handler immediately recognizes. Movement in Sector 7, the handler reports quietly over the radio. Thunder's got multiple contacts moving tactically. Amanda moves swiftly to the facility's east perimeter, where Ghost remains stationed in his usual watch position. The white German shepherd stands unmoving, his body frozen in an almost unnatural stillness. Amanda recognizes that posture. It's the kind of readiness born from real combat experience. They're probing our blind spots, Kevin mutters beside her, his eyes glued to the thermal feeds. The figures moving beyond the fence line aren't erratic or careless, they're controlled, methodical. This is professional work, Kevin continues. These aren't just cartel enforcers. Amanda adjusts her night vision optics, scanning the perimeter. The unmistakable precision of experienced operators comes into focus. These men know exactly what they're doing. They've brought in mercenaries, she says quietly. Former military turned guns for hire. Jason's voice cuts through the radio. Orders? Amanda doesn't hesitate. Implement Pattern Delta. Pattern Delta is something entirely unique to Hope Valley, a defensive strategy that transforms the facility into a fully coordinated K9 response grid. Each dog-hander team has a role, a position, a precise moment to act. Unlike traditional security measures, this strategy isn't about waiting, it's about control. Midnight approaches. The first direct probe comes through three figures moving carefully along the southeastern fence line, expecting to find standard security defenses. What they don't expect is the silent, calculated response waiting for them. Shadow and Diego move as one, executing a containment maneuver honed through months of training. There's no barking, no alarm, just swift, decisive action. Within moments, the cartel scouts are forced to retreat, but not before the dogs accomplish what they were trained for, gathering intelligence. Back in the command center, Jason analyzes their behavior, his expression tight. They're wearing military-grade gear. He pauses before adding, American make, recent issue. Amanda's stomach knots. Someone supplying them? Kevin updates the tactical display, shifting the digital map to reflect their latest findings. They've got us surrounded on three sides, using the river as a natural barrier on the fourth. Classic siege setup. They think they can wait us out, force us into making a mistake. Amanda doesn't blink. They don't know who they're dealing with. Through the facility's surveillance feeds, she watches her handlers move with precision, their dogs seamlessly falling into formation. Every movement is intentional. Every strategy is executed with purpose. This isn't just a group of trainers defending their home. This is something far greater. Show me the drone feed from Sector 12, Amanda orders. Kevin shifts the screen, bringing up the thermal visuals from the area. Vehicles are settling into position, their patterns familiar. Staging for a first light attack, Kevin mutters. Rachel enters the room, her tablet in hand, displaying data collected from the dog's biometric tracking systems. Heart rate steady, stress levels normal. She glances up. They're not just ready, they're eager. Amanda checks her watch. 4 hours until dawn, 4 hours until the fight begins, 4 hours before Los Guerreros Muertos learns what happens when you underestimate the world's finest military dogs. Send a coded alert to Sheriff Thompson, she instructs. Make it clear we handle this our way, on our terms. In the darkness, Rex 2 presses against her leg, his warm presence a steady reminder of what they stand for. These aren't just trained dogs, they are warriors. And tonight they will prove it. The cartel wanted to send a message by attacking Hope Valley. Instead, they are about to become a case study in why military K9 units are considered force multipliers. Amanda looks at her team, at the dogs, and knows with absolute certainty, when the sun rises, the enemy will understand the price of their mistake. 3 hours before dawn, the first true test arrives. Shadow's handler signals a silent alert, figures moving along the western perimeter. Amanda lifts her night vision optics, scanning the darkness. 6 operators move in tight formation, their discipline unmistakable. She studies their gear, her gut tightening. Advanced night vision, military-grade weapons, tactical comms. They're running a test probe, Kevin murmurs beside her from their concealed observation post, checking reaction times, studying our defense patterns. Amanda keys her radio, keeping her voice barely above a whisper. All units, hold. Let them think they've found a weakness. Jason, move Thunder and Ghost to Sector 5. Silent approach. The cartel team reaches the outer fence, methodical and precise. 2 men step forward, pulling out specialized cutting tools. El Fantasma isn't taking chances, Kevin notes grimly. These aren't cartel foot soldiers, they're hired professionals. Amanda watches as the fence team creates a narrow opening, their actions efficient, practiced. That's exactly why they'll fail. Professionals follow patterns. Patterns can be predicted. The moment the intruders slip through, moving toward what they assume is a blind spot, they step into a trap 3 months in the making. Ghosts and Thunder, already positioned, move in eerie silence, their bodies low to the ground, slipping through the shadows with a lethal grace. Their approach is calculated, their breathing controlled. No barking, no wasted movement. These aren't just trained attack dogs. They're specialists in containment. Amanda waits, breath steady, as the cartel team advances. Then, with a single silent signal, the dogs strike. Thunder moves first. The Belgian Malinois explodes from cover, taking down the rear guard in a blur of muscle and precision, his training honed in combat zones. Ghost follows a split second later, targeting the communications expert. The white German Shepherd moves so fast the man doesn't have time to react, his radio clattering uselessly to the ground. The remaining operatives pivot with professional speed, but they're outmatched. The dogs don't just attack, they maneuver, cutting off escape routes, driving their targets into pre-set containment zones. Within moments, the facility's defenses have executed a flawless ambush. Jason's voice comes through the radio, calm and controlled. Sector 5 secure, 4 targets detained, 2 evaded south, no casualties. Amanda moves quickly, Rex 2 at her side. The captured men lie zip-tied on the ground, their weapons scattered around them. One, recognizing Amanda's presence, shifts slightly, his bruised face half-lit by the moon. His voice is thick with an accent as he mutters in English. You have no idea what's coming. His eyes glint with something dark. El Fantasma doesn't fail. Amanda ignores the threat, kneeling beside the discarded equipment. She runs her fingers over a tactical vest, then picks up a headset. Kevin crouches beside her, expression hardening. Russian night vision, American tactical gear, Israeli comms, he mutters. This isn't just a cartel op, someone's backing them. Jason joins them, running his hands carefully over Ghost and Thunder, checking for injuries. Both dogs remain still, their sharp eyes locked on the prisoners. No sign of stress, only a razor-edged awareness. This changes things, Jason murmurs. Amanda nods, it accelerates them. El Fantasma can't afford to wait for dawn now. He won't risk word getting back to his superiors that his elite strike team was neutralized by dogs. Back in the command center, Rachel rewinds footage from the engagement, her eyes locked on the screen. Look at their movements, she says, pointing to Ghost and Thunder. Everything we hypothesized about cross-trained K9 teams working in coordination, they're doing it, flawlessly. Amanda doesn't need the footage to confirm what she already knows. The program they built, the one everyone doubted, has proven itself in real combat. Outside, the facility shifts to high alert. The air hums with tension. This isn't over. The cartel has invested too much to walk away. They've been humiliated. Their response will be fast and brutal. Kevin's voice crackles over the radio. Multiple vehicles moving on access roads. They're not even trying to hide it anymore. Amanda moves to the window, scanning the compound. Ghost stands at the perimeter, his white fur almost luminous under the dim security lights. His posture is rigid, ears forward. Across the facility, the other dogs mirror his stance. They sense what's coming. Jason steps into the room, his voice clipped. Update from Sheriff Thompson. State police are mobilizing, but they're 2 hours out. Amanda barely glances at him. 2 hours is too long. Hope Valley will wait. The fight is coming to them. Water patrols are tied up with a major operation near Del Rio, leaving Hope Valley to stand alone. Amanda absorbs the weight of the situation, her mind racing through the implications. The captured operator's gear tells a deeper story. This isn't just a reckless cartel raid. Los Guerreros Muertos isn't merely trying to destroy Hope Valley. They want to capture its training methods, its dogs, everything that has made it a threat to their operations. We think they can turn our own techniques against us, Amanda tells her team during a quick briefing, her voice calm but firm. But they don't understand that what makes this place special isn't just the training methods, it's the bond between the handlers and the dogs. That's something they'll never be able to replicate. Outside, the night seems even heavier, pressing down like a warning. The faint hum of drone motors drifts overhead, the cartel conducting last-minute reconnaissance. But Amanda's team is prepared. Every handler knows their role. Every dog is positioned, waiting, instincts sharpened like a blade. Through the command scope, Amanda watches as cartel vehicles settle into position along the ridgelines. Their lights remain off, but the thermal feed reveals the truth. Dozens of armed men preparing to strike. They're waiting for something, Kevin mutters beside her, studying the enemy's movement. Amanda checks her watch. 2 hours until dawn. This isn't a hasty raid. It's a calculated demonstration. El Fantasma wants to make an example out of us, she murmurs. Show everyone what happens when you cost his cartel money. Rex Teg presses against her leg, his presence grounding her. She reaches down, feeling the familiar weight of trust between them. Across the facility, other handlers share similar moments with their dogs, silent acknowledgments of the bond that defines Hope Valley. All units maintain surveillance, Amanda orders, voice steady. They'll come hard and fast when they move. Trust your training, trust your dogs. The captured operators remain secured inside the reinforced shelter. Their gear has been catalogued, providing valuable intelligence on what the main force will bring. But Amanda knows the real test is still ahead. The cartel thought they were targeting a standard training facility. Instead, they've walked into a defense designed by someone who spent years mastering the power of military working dogs. And when the full assault comes, they'll understand exactly why Hope Valley's reputation was earned. It begins subtly, a feint. Vehicles suddenly accelerate toward the north gate, headlights blazing, engines roaring. The sound is deafening, a classic diversion meant to draw defenders away from the real attack. Amanda doesn't bite. Hold positions, she orders, eyes locked on the tactical display. Rex Tech confirms her instincts, his posture rigid, gaze fixed toward the south. Around the facility, other dogs mirror his tension, their finely tuned senses reacting in perfect synchronization. The real attack comes a heartbeat later. A sudden explosion rips through the southern perimeter, shaking the ground. Smoke grenades follow, thick plumes spilling into the night, creating an artificial fog of war. Through the chaos, Amanda's voice remains unwavering. Execute Pattern Sierra, all K9 units activate. Pattern Sierra is unique to Hope Valley, a defensive strategy that transforms the entire facility into a synchronized response grid. The dogs don't just attack, they control, they funnel, they dominate. Contact south. Kevin's voice crackles through the comms. Multiple tangos breaching Sector 8. Cartel forces surge forward with military precision, but they've never faced anything like this. Hope Valley's defenses aren't just walls and weapons. They're living, breathing, thinking predators. Ghost and Thunder move in tandem, flanking the first assault team. The dogs strike without sound, their attack devastating and completely coordinated. The cartel's front line crumbles in seconds. They're using shield teams, Jason reports, watching the thermal feed. Professional breach tactics. Amanda switches channels. Diego, release for POA. The German Shepherd, once plagued by PTSD, is locked in, mission-centric. He moves like a wraith through the smoke, his handler following close, trusting the dog's superior senses. Together they cut through the breach team, hitting them from an impossible angle. Inside the command center, Rachel monitors the dog's vital signs. Their heart rates are elevated but steady. They're not stressed, she notes. They're in mission mode. Amanda doesn't need the data to tell her that. She already knows. This isn't just a fight. This is a war. The sharp crack of gunfire splits the night, erupting from multiple directions. The cartel forces are testing Hope Valley's defenses, searching for weaknesses. What they find instead are precisely positioned K9 teams, ready to counter every move with ruthless efficiency. East wall compromised. A handler's urgent voice comes through the radio. They've breached the outer fence. Amanda reacts instantly. Shadow, Ghost converge on east sector. All handlers implement surge response. The night ignites with controlled chaos as the cartel's main force commits to the assault, but amidst the violence, Hope Valley's dogs show exactly why they are considered among the most elite warriors in the world. Every movement is precise, every reaction calculated. These animals don't just attack, they execute trained maneuvers designed to control and dismantle enemy advances. Through her tactical scope, Amanda tracks Ghost as the white German Shepherd intercepts a cartel operator attempting to plant explosives along the fence. The takedown is flawless. Ghost moves in, disables the man in a single calculated strike, and neutralizes the threat without delivering a fatal blow, exactly as he was trained. They're pushing toward the kennels, Kevin warns, eyes locked on the shifting thermal feeds, trying to capture the reserve dogs. Amanda's jaw tightens. That's not going to happen. She switches channels, her next order crisp. Execute Protocol Diamond. Protocol Diamond is Hope Valley's most advanced defensive strategy, an innovation Amanda developed from years of battlefield experience. It enables the dogs to function semi-autonomously, adapting to real-time threats while maintaining perfect tactical coordination with their handlers. Unlike human opponents, these dogs don't hesitate, don't break formation, and don't fall for distractions. The cartel forces quickly find themselves overwhelmed. Their movements become desperate as K9 units appear from impossible angles, moving in pairs and trios, striking with deadly synchronization. Every push forward is met with an immediate coordinated response. What the cartel assumed would be an easy target has transformed into an unpredictable and unstoppable force. Vehicle approaching main gate, Jason's voice cuts through the comms. Armored transport, military-grade mods. Amanda shifts her attention to the thermal imaging display. The vehicle's heat signature confirms her suspicion. Heavily modified, reinforced plating, likely upgraded by cartel engineers for battlefield conditions. Rex Thunder, move to intercept, she commands. Pattern Omega. The two dogs react instantly, slipping into the shadows with practiced ease, their handlers covering them as they close in. The transport rumbles forward, barreling toward the facility's main entrance, but the moment it reaches the designated kill zone, Rex and Thunder strike. Thunder lunges for the front tires, shredding through rubber with practiced precision. At the same time, Rex 2 attacks from the vehicle's blind spot, forcing the driver to swerve. The heavy transport lurches, momentum shifting wildly before it slams into the pre-prepared barriers with a deafening impact. The cartel fighters inside barely have time to recover before K9 teams swarm from all directions, neutralizing the occupants before they can mount a counterattack. Status report, Amanda demands as she moves between defensive positions, scanning for weak points. 3 handlers wounded, non-critical, Rachel reports, her voice steady. All dogs are operational, east sector contained but south is still active. Amanda's eyes flick toward the ridgeline beyond the compound, her instincts prickling with unease. A lone figure stands there, watching the battle through high-powered optics. Even at this distance, she recognizes the stance. Rigid, calculating, commanding. El Fantasma is here, she tells Kevin, her tone edged with steel. He's watching his plan fall apart. The realization sharpens everything. This isn't just another cartel raid. This is personal. El Fantasma isn't here to simply destroy Hope Valley. He's here to make an example of it, to prove that no one can defy him and live to tell the story. But he's made a critical mistake. They're regrouping, Jason reports, pulling back to covered positions. Amanda studies the tactical display. The cartel's momentum is slipping, but this fight is far from over. El Fantasma didn't climb to the top of Los Guerreros Muertos by giving up easily. He's adapting, planning his next strike. Reinforce the west wall, Amanda orders. They'll try to split our response teams. She turns to Kevin. How long until dawn? He checks his watch. 90 minutes. State police? Still an hour out. Amanda exhales slowly. Hope Valley still stands alone, but the longer they hold, the more the enemy unravels. Across the compound, the dogs maintain their disciplined defense, every movement a testament to their training, their purpose, their bond with the handlers who trust them with their lives. These animals were bred for war, refined through years of service, and tonight, they're proving that even in retirement, they never stop being warriors. Through the night vision cameras, Amanda watches El Fantasma confer with his lieutenants. His body language betrays his frustration. His professional assault team, his expensive equipment, everything he thought would guarantee his victory, has been neutralized by what he dismissed as nothing more than a dog training facility. He thought he was coming to crush Hope Valley. Instead, he walked into a war he never expected to lose. All units maintain defensive positions, Amanda broadcasts, her voice unwavering. They'll come again, harder this time. Trust your dogs, trust your training. The night is far from over, but Hope Valley has already proven something crucial. When handlers and dogs operate as true partners, when their training emphasizes cooperation rather than just control, they become something far more lethal than the cartel could have ever anticipated. They become an unstoppable force. Then, without warning, the first explosion rips through the compound. This is no diversion, this is a direct strike. The blast targets Hope Valley's power station, sending a shockwave through the facility. Emergency generators kick in instantly, restoring power in seconds, but the message is clear. El Fantasma is finished testing their defenses. Now, he's here to tear them down. Multiple breaches, Kevin's voice snaps through the comms. They're using shaped charges on the outer walls. Amanda's eyes lock onto the tactical display as red indicators light up across the perimeter. This is no longer a series of probing strikes. Los Guerreros Muertos has committed everything, launching simultaneous attacks from multiple angles. All handlers fall back to secondary positions, Amanda orders, watching Rex Tech's rigid stance. He senses what's coming. Implement protocol firewall. Through the reinforced windows of the command center, Amanda watches as the first wave of cartel fighters moves through the breaches. Their gear is different now, heavier body armor, advanced breaching tools. El Fantasma has sent his elite forces. They're targeting the training areas, Jason reports through static field comms. Demo charges planted on the east wing. Let them have it, Amanda responds without hesitation, her voice remains steady. That's why we built the facility in layers. A moment later, the east wing erupts in a controlled demolition, sending a fireball into the night sky. The cartel forces scramble, expecting to have crippled Hope Valley's operations. Instead, they find nothing of value. The real training records, critical equipment, everything that matters, was moved to hardened underground bunkers hours ago. Contact West, a handler's voice comes through the radio, strained. They've got dog teams of their own. Amanda stiffens. This is what she feared. Through her tactical scope, she spots them, German shepherds leading the cartel's assault teams. These aren't disciplined military dogs, they're attack animals, conditioned for aggression and chaos. Shadow Thunder, move to intercept, she commands. Show them the difference between attack dogs and warriors. The clash is swift but brutal. Shadow and Thunder move with the precision of years of combat training, their discipline an unshakable advantage. While the cartel dogs fight on instinct alone, Hope Valley's K9 units execute tactical maneuvers, outflanking and overpowering their opponents. Their handlers provide covering fire, reinforcing the stark difference between cartel enforcers and seasoned military professionals. Amanda, Rachel's voice breaks through the chaos. They're pushing toward the medical building, we've got wounded in there. Amanda doesn't hesitate. The medical building is more than just a clinic. It houses injured handlers, critical veterinary supplies, and Hope Valley's last defensive fallback. Ghost, Diego, form up, on me, she commands. Jason, take your team to the north side. We're going to show them why you don't threaten our people. Moving through the smoke-choked compound, Amanda leads a counteroffensive that embodies everything Hope Valley was built for. Dogs and handlers work in perfect synchronization, their movements refined through years of training. Every attack, every maneuver, every coordinated takedown reinforces a single truth. This is not just a facility. This is a battleground where warriors stand together. They're pulling back from the medical building, Kevin reports. But we've got heavy equipment moving up the south road. The distant rumble of engines cuts through the night. Amanda already knows what's coming. El Fantasma has committed his heaviest assets, Kevin mutters grimly. Cartel technicals, modified for urban warfare. All units implement scorched earth protocols, Amanda orders, watching the enemy convoy approach. Let's show them why we designed those access roads the way we did. The cartel's armored vehicles move confidently down Hope Valley's main approach, their drivers unaware that every route leading into the facility was built to be a potential trap. The moment the lead vehicle crosses the designated threshold, the first defensive measure activates. In an instant, the convoy is enveloped in a devastating crossfire. Snipers positioned along concealed ridges open fire, targeting weak points in the vehicle's armor. Explosive traps trigger beneath key access points, throwing the cartel's advance into disarray. Command, we've got movement on the ridge, Jason's voice crackles through. El Fantasma's personal guard is moving up. Amanda studies the tactical display. The cartel leader isn't retreating, he's doubling down, committing his reserves. His frustration is evident. Every calculated attack has failed. Every attempt to break Hope Valley has been countered. What he dismissed as a mere training facility has torn apart his best teams. They're still underestimating us, Amanda says, her voice calm. Every tactic they've used assumes our dogs operate like traditional K9 units. She glances at the command center's monitors, watching as Ghosts and Thunder execute a flanking maneuver so precise, so seamless it would make their military trainers proud. Every time the cartel adapts, Hope Valley proves them wrong. This war isn't over. But El Fantasma is running out of moves. The dogs move like shadows, their every step calculated, their instincts honed to perfection. They use the terrain for cover, slipping through the darkness with the kind of discipline that only comes from years of specialized training. Hope Valley's innovative methods have turned them into something beyond attack dogs. They are battlefield tacticians, warriors who know the land better than the enemy ever could. East sector compromised, a handler's voice cuts through the radio. They've breached the inner fence. Amanda doesn't hesitate. Release Pattern Delta, all K9 units activate close quarters protocols. Pattern Delta transforms the breach zone into a fully coordinated defensive grid. Each dog knows its place. Each handler moves with purpose. There's no chaos, only precision. When the cartel forces push through the fence, they are met with an assault unlike anything they've faced before. Rex Tekent leads the charge, his military training evident in every fluid motion. He doesn't hesitate, doesn't second guess. His mission is clear. He drives straight into the first wave of attackers, disrupting their formation. Before they can recover, the other dogs join the fight, their attacks synchronized to funnel the intruders into pre-planned containment zones. The cartel forces aren't just being pushed back, they're being controlled. Amanda, Kevin's voice comes over the radio, tense. They're setting up mortars on the ridge. Amanda's pulse quickens. This is escalation beyond anything they had anticipated. El Fantasma isn't just trying to overrun them. He's preparing to wipe Hope Valley off the map. Status report, Amanda calls, moving between defensive positions, her eyes scanning the horizon. 5 handlers wounded, 2 critical, Rachel responds, her voice steady but urgent. Dogs are still operational, but the medical building won't survive a direct hit. Amanda brings her night vision optics up, zeroing in on the cartel's command post. El Fantasma stands surrounded by his lieutenants, his rigid posture betraying his frustration. What was supposed to be a swift and decisive show of power has turned into something else entirely, an embarrassment. His elite forces are failing, his tactics are failing. And now he's resorting to leveling the facility. Amanda's voice hardens. All units prepare for Protocol Omega. She doesn't need to explain what that means. Every handler knows, every K9 team understands. This is the moment Hope Valley stops defending. Now they go on the offensive. Around her, Hope Valley's defenders make their final preparations. Hands check weapons, radios confirm positions, dogs remain poised, ears up, muscles coiled, waiting for the signal. These aren't just animals trained to attack, they are warriors trained to think, to adapt, to work as a unified force. Then the sky ignites. The first mortar rounds arc through the night, fire trailing behind them. Seconds later, the explosions shake the earth, hammering the compound with brutal force. But the cartel's deadly barrage does not land where they expect. Hope Valley was built for war. The outer buildings, intentionally designed as expendable shells, absorb the brunt of the attack. Dust and debris fill the air, but the true defensive positions remain untouched, hidden deep within fortified underground bunkers. Status report, Amanda calls over the command net, her voice even despite the chaos. Medical team secure in Bunker 2, Rachel replies. All wounded stabilized, dogs maintaining discipline under fire. Amanda watches through reinforced observation ports as the cartel mortar teams adjust their fire, their movements methodical. These aren't reckless cartel gunmen, these are military-trained mercenaries, their expertise evident in every calculation. But they are about to learn the hard way. Hope Valley's reputation wasn't built on training alone. Execute Operation Blackout, Amanda orders. All handlers prepare for night warfare protocols. In an instant, the facility's remaining exterior lights cut out. Darkness engulfs Hope Valley. For the cartel, it's disorienting. For Amanda's team, it's an advantage. Hope Valley's defenders have trained for this exact moment. Every K9 unit and handler knows how to operate in zero-light conditions. The cartel forces, despite their night vision gear, are about to realize they aren't the only ones who know how to hunt in the dark. Multiple teams moving through the East Breach, Kevin reports. They think we're blind. Amanda allows herself a grim smile. Show them their mistake. Ghostunden. Implement pattern Sigma. The 2 dogs vanish into the night, moving with an eerie, almost supernatural fluidity. Every step is silent, every approach precise. Their months of specialized training have led to this moment. The first cartel unit never sees them coming. Contact front, a cartel soldier shouts in Spanish, panic creeping into his voice. The dogs! His transmission cuts off abruptly. Distant thunder strike with devastating efficiency. They don't just attack, they dismantle. Their movements are coordinated, seamless, the culmination of years of training that has transformed them into something far beyond mere working dogs. Through the command center's monitors, Amanda watches the cartel's forces stumble, their structure breaking under the relentless pressure of an enemy they never accounted for. El Fantasma thought he was bringing the fight to Hope Valley. Instead, he walked straight into a war he's already lost. Amanda. Jason's voice comes through the radio, urgent but steady. They're setting up for a second mortar barrage, different angle this time. Amanda's eyes flick across the tactical display, analyzing the shifting positions. The cartel's mortar teams have relocated to higher ground, attempting to bracket the compound and pinpoint the underground facilities. The change in strategy is aggressive, but sloppy. They're rushing the deployment, she notes, watching the way El Fantasma's forces scramble. He's frustrated, he's making mistakes. All handlers fall back to hardened positions, she orders. Rex, Shadow, on me, time to show them our counter-battery response. Moving swiftly through Hope Valley's underground tunnels, Amanda leads her team toward a prepared position. These tunnels, built into the facility's original design, allow defenders to move unseen across the compound, striking from unexpected angles. They're targeting the K9 area, Kevin warns over the comms. Heavy rounds incoming. The earth trembles as another wave of explosions erupts across the facility. Dust and debris rain down, but Amanda doesn't even flinch. The cartel is wasting ammunition. She had anticipated this, evacuating the kennels hours ago when she first suspected the attack was imminent. Status on pattern Omega? She asks, reaching a reinforced firing position. Ready on your mark, Jason confirms. Dogs are in position. Pattern Omega is one of Hope Valley's most advanced response tactics, a counteroffensive designed specifically for overwhelming firepower. It's not about defense, it's about striking back. Amanda gives the order, execute. The night explodes into controlled chaos. Ghost and Thunder hit the mortar team's flanks, slipping through the darkness like phantoms, striking with silent precision. At the same time, Rex 2 and Shadow launch their assault from a different angle, tearing through enemy ranks before the cartel gunners even realize they're under attack. Mortars neutralized, Kevin reports, satisfaction evident in his voice. East and North teams are down. But El Fantasma isn't finished. Through her tactical scope, Amanda watches the cartel leader pacing furiously near his makeshift command post. His body language is tense, his frustration clear. This attack was supposed to be a statement of power, a reminder of his dominance. Instead, it's become a public humiliation. He cannot afford to lose, not to what he still refuses to believe is just a dog training facility. They're bringing up the heavy weapons, Jason warns, technical vehicles with mounted guns. Amanda shifts her focus to the ridge, where cartel trucks roll into position, their mounted weapons gleaming under the moonlight. I still think this is about the buildings, she murmurs. They don't understand what they're really fighting. Hope Valley's strength doesn't lie in its walls, its equipment, or even its defensive measures. It lies in something far deeper, something the cartel could never replicate. The bond between handlers and their dogs. Multiple breaches on the west wall, a handler reports. They're pushing hard. Amanda's response is immediate. Let them come. She switches channels. Diego, Thunder, show them why military dogs are different from attack dogs. The two K9s launch forward with practiced precision, their handlers moving in tandem. When the cartel teams push through the breaches, they encounter something they never trained for. Dogs operating not as weapons but as tactical units, predicting their movements, outmaneuvering them, shutting down every attempt to push deeper into the compound. Command, we've got movement on the ridge, Kevin calls out. El Fantasma is repositioning his command post. Amanda zeroes in on the cartel leader's new location. He's becoming reckless, pushing his men harder, taking unnecessary risks. His frustration is clouding his judgment. And that's exactly what she's been waiting for. All units prepare for Phase 2, she announces over the radio. They think they've got us contained. Time to show them Hope Valley's real capabilities. Around her, handlers and dogs brace for what comes next. Every movement is controlled, every breath steady. This isn't just a battle, this is a demonstration, one that will prove once and for all why Hope Valley's training methods are unparalleled. Through the darkness, Rex 2 watches Amanda with calm focus, understanding the weight of what's about to happen. These dogs aren't just trained animals, they are combat veterans who know exactly what's at stake. When Phase 2 begins, the first weapon they use is silence. Every radio in Hope Valley goes dark. Every light flickers out. To the cartel forces watching from the ridge, it looks like their sustained attack has finally knocked out the facility. They think they've won. They couldn't be more wrong. El Fantasma leans forward, his tactical scope trained on the darkened compound below. The sudden blackout has given his forces a rare opportunity, or so he believes. Move in, he orders in Spanish, his voice sharp. Full breach of all sectors. He doesn't realize that Amanda Collins has spent years preparing for exactly this moment. Deep within Hope Valley's underground command center, Amanda watches the thermal feeds, her expression unreadable. The cartel forces advance confidently, their night vision gear giving them the illusion of control. They believe they're storming a crippled facility, one they've already worn down. They couldn't be more wrong. All units, hold, she whispers into her encrypted comms. Let them commit fully to the attack. The cartel soldiers push through the very breaches they created, their movements swift and disciplined. But what they don't realize is that Hope Valley's advanced thermal masking systems are feeding them exactly what Amanda wants them to see. They've passed the outer markers, Kevin reports quietly. All teams committed. Amanda nods, her gaze flicking to Rec second. The Belgian Malinois remains still, poised, waiting for her command. Initiate Phase 2 protocols, she orders. All K9 units, activate. What happens next is exactly why Hope Valley's training methods have become legendary. The facility's underground network, far more extensive than the cartel ever suspected, allows defenders to emerge from multiple hidden positions at once. Ghost and Thunder strike first, targeting the cartel's communications specialists before they can raise an alarm. Shadow and Diego hit the flanking units, moving with absolute precision. Their attacks are coordinated, their maneuvers drilled to perfection. Contact east! A cartel soldier's voice cracks over their radios, thick with panic. Through her command scope, Amanda watches their disciplined formation begin to fracture. The cartel fighters, trained, organized, and well-armed, are facing something they've never encountered before. Hope Valley's K9 units aren't just attacking, they're implementing a series of intricate maneuvers designed to split, isolate, and dismantle enemy forces one by one. They're falling back to secondary positions, Jason reports, his tone steady despite the chaos. But El Fantasma is pushing them forward. Even from this distance, Amanda can see the cartel leader's body language shift. His frustration is palpable. He's lost too many men, spent too many resources. He's too deep to retreat now. And that's exactly what Amanda was counting on. Execute pattern Lambda, she orders. Show them why we built this facility the way we did. With a single command, Hope Valley's seemingly simple layout transforms into something else entirely. Concealed barriers rise from hidden positions, funneling the enemy into pre-designed containment zones. Pathways they once thought were escape routes now become choke points. The facility itself is no longer just a battleground, it's a weapon. Multiple tangos trapped in Sector 7, a handler reports. Ghost and Thunder have them contained. Amanda moves through the underground passages, Rex second at her side. He doesn't need commands, his combat experience has made him an extension of her instincts. He anticipates her every movement, adjusting his position with practiced ease. Rachel's status on our wounded, Amanda asks over the command net. Stable and secure, the veterinarian responds. The dogs are performing beyond expectations. Their tactical coordination is unprecedented. Through the facility's surveillance cameras, Amanda watches as Hope Valley's innovative training proves its worth. The K9 units, once trained for single-purpose military or police work, now operate as fully integrated tactical teams. Their effectiveness isn't just in their individual skill but in how they move together, their roles expanding beyond anything traditional training had ever allowed. Something's happening, Kevin's voice cuts in. Urgent. El Fantasma's lieutenant is arguing with him. Looks like dissension in the ranks. Amanda focuses on the cartel's command post, her thermal optics picking up the heated exchange between El Fantasma and his second-in-command. The frustration is setting in, she observes. They expected to find a training facility. Instead, they walked into a demonstration of everything we've built here. Outside, the night fills with the sounds of controlled chaos. Hope Valley's defenders press their advantage. Every handler and K9 team moves with deadly precision. Their attacks aren't random, they're coordinated through a command system that transforms the entire facility into a single, unified response grid. This is no longer just a battle for survival. This is a reckoning. Multiple vehicles starting up, Jason reports through the comms. They're pulling back from the east sector. Amanda studies the thermal feed, watching as the cartel forces retreat from areas where they've met the most effective resistance. But she knows better. This isn't a full withdrawal. El Fantasma has committed too much to this assault. He can't afford to walk away without a decisive victory. All units maintain pressure, she orders. They're regrouping, not retreating. Stay alert for their counterattack. Through the facility's advanced surveillance system, she watches El Fantasma conferring urgently with his remaining officers. This was supposed to be an overwhelming display of power, a swift and crushing elimination of Hope Valley. Instead, the cartel has been met with something they never prepared for. Military working dogs operating as fully coordinated tactical units. Status report, Amanda demands, moving quickly between command positions. 3 more handlers wounded, non-critical, Rachel responds. Dogs are still at peak operational effectiveness. The tactical cross-training is paying off exactly as you theorized. Around them, Hope Valley's defenders maintain their disciplined response. Every handler trusts their dog implicitly, knowing that their partnership is built on more than just training. It's battle-forged, tested under pressure, refined through relentless drills. These aren't just working dogs, these are warriors. They're bringing up their reserves, Kevin warns. El Fantasma is committing everything he has left. Amanda's eyes narrow as she studies the tactical display, tracking the latest movements. This next assault won't just test the facility's defensive structures, it will test the very foundation of Hope Valley's philosophy. This isn't just about holding the line. This is about proving once and for all that military working dogs can be more than just tools of war. All units prepare for sustained engagement, Amanda broadcasts. They think they've seen everything we can do. Show them why Hope Valley's reputation was earned through more than just basic training. The night is far from over, but one truth has already been established. When handlers and dogs are trained to function as one, when their instincts and skills are honed through specialized cross-training, they become something more than the enemy could ever anticipate. They become an unstoppable force. El Fantasma's counterattack comes like a hammer, smashing against Hope Valley's defenses with relentless aggression. Armored vehicles breach the outer walls, combat teams equipped with heavy breaching gear target the facility's supposed weak points. Multiple breaches on all sides, Kevin reports, his voice taut. They're pushing with everything they've got. Amanda's fingers tighten around the edge of the command console. She watches the tactical feed, tracking the cartel's advance. There's something different now, something desperate. They're burning through their professional operators, she mutters. El Fantasma is throwing raw muscle at us now. Through the reinforced windows of the command center, she watches Rex 2 and Ghost reposition, adapting their tactics in real time. The dogs move with honed precision, seamlessly adjusting to the changing battlefield. This is what they've trained for. This is why Hope Valley exists. Each sector is critical, a handler's voice cuts through the comms. They've breached the inner wall. Amanda's response is immediate. Jason, take Thunder and Shadow. Show them why we spent 6 months training for close-quarters combat. The cartel forces push deeper into the compound, expecting to face security teams armed with conventional weapons. Instead, they find something entirely outside their experience. Military working dogs operating as a fully integrated combat unit. Connect front, a cartel soldier's panicked voice echoes over intercepted radio chatter. These aren't normal dogs. His transmission cuts off in an instant. Thunder and Shadow execute a flawless containment maneuver, driving the intruders into a prepared kill zone. The dogs don't just attack, they control, manipulate, and dismantle the enemy's movements, forcing them into traps designed for swift elimination. Amanda, Rachel's voice breaks through the comms, urgent but controlled. We've got movement near the medical bunker. They found one of the ventilation shafts. In the underground medical facility, wounded handlers listen as the battle rages above. Their dogs remain vigilant, standing guard even as their bodies tense with the need to fight. They understand their mission. Protect the injured. Amanda doesn't hesitate. Implement Protocol Omega. Diego, Ghost, converge on medical. This battle isn't just about survival anymore. It's about ensuring that Hope Valley stands not just as a training ground, but as proof of what military working dogs are truly capable of. Diego and Ghost move like shadows through Hope Valley's underground network, their handlers providing precise support with every step. They know the terrain better than any enemy ever could, slipping between defensive positions with practiced ease. When the cartel breaching team forces its way through the ventilation shaft, they are met with something they never trained for. Clear, Jason reports minutes later. Medical sector secured. You should see what Diego did to their breaching expert. Amanda allows herself the briefest moment of pride. Diego, once struggling with the ghosts of his past, has just proven that a wounded warrior never truly stops fighting. Multiple vehicles approaching from the south, Kevin warns through the comms. Heavy weapons mounted, they're going to try and suppress our defensive positions. Through her tactical scope, Amanda watches the cartel's armored convoy roll into position. This is it. El Fantasma's last-ditch effort, throwing everything he has left into the fight. His frustration is making him reckless. All handlers fall back to hardened positions, she orders. implement scorched earth protocols. The cartel vehicles surge forward, their crews confident as they advance along Hope Valley's access roads. What they don't know is that every approach was designed as a potential ambush point. The moment they hit the first trigger zone, the entire column is caught in a devastating crossfire. 2 vehicles disabled, Jason reports with satisfaction. The rest are pulling back. But Amanda knows El Fantasma isn't finished. Through the facility's surveillance feeds, she watches the cartel leader, his movements sharp and frantic. His grip on the situation is slipping, his authority within Los Guerreros Muertos hanging by a thread. He staked his entire reputation on this assault. If he fails, he loses everything. They're bringing up demolition charges, Kevin warns. Looks like they're planning to level the entire compound. Amanda studies the tactical display, tracking the cartel demolition teams as they move into position. They still don't understand, she murmurs. This was never about the buildings. Hope Valley's true strength isn't in its walls or its infrastructure, it's in the people and the dogs, the unbreakable bonds forged through training, trust, and combat experience. Every handler here knows their K9 partner better than they know themselves, and that's what will win this fight. All units prepare for maximum response, Amanda broadcasts. Show them why military dogs are different from attack dogs. The facility erupts into action. Handlers and their K9s move in seamless coordination, executing counterattacks with surgical precision. Ghost and Thunder strike the demolition teams before they can set their charges, while Rex 2 and Shadow provide tactical support, ensuring no enemy gets close enough to threaten the inner compound. Command, we've got movement on the ridge, Jason reports. El Fantasma's personal guard is moving up. Amanda shifts her focus, tracking the new threat through her night vision optics. The cartel leader's elite unit is deploying his best remaining fighters saved for this decisive moment. These aren't street-level enforcers or cartel foot soldiers. These are specialists. Former military operatives. Men who once worked in the shadows, now selling their skills to the highest bidder. Status report, Amanda demands as she moves between command positions, assessing the battlefield. 4 more handlers wounded, 1 critical, Rachel responds. Dogs are still combat effic, but they're showing signs of fatigue. Amanda exhales slowly, eyes locked on El Fantasma's command post. The cartel leader is running out of time and options, but he refuses to accept defeat. All units maintain defensive positions, she orders. They're going to throw everything they have left at us. Trust your dogs. Trust your training. Around her, Hope Valley's defenders make their final preparations. Weapons are checked. K9s remain locked in unwavering focus. These aren't just animals trained to attack. They are warriors trained to think, to adapt, to work as part of a larger battlefield strategy. The night sky ignites with fire as El Fantasma launches his final, desperate assault. His only plan now is to break Hope Valley through sheer brute force. But he is about to learn exactly why military working dogs are considered force multipliers, and why Hope Valley's training methods made it a target worth destroying. Kevin's voice came through the comms, steady but alert. Multiple contacts moving, tactical, tracking their heat signatures. These guys are different. Amanda adjusted her thermal scope, watching the unit deploy with practiced precision. Their movements were crisp, their formations tight, their gear setting them apart from the cartel's usual forces. Latest generation night vision, specialized breaching tools, encrypted tactical communications. El Fantasma had finally brought in professionals, but he was still making the same mistake, treating Hope Valley like any other facility. All handlers, fall back to hardened positions, Amanda ordered. Let them come to us, show them why we train for exactly this scenario. The elite units split into 4-man teams, each approaching Hope Valley's defensive positions from different angles. Their coordination was impressive, their tactics sharp, but Amanda saw the flaw. They were still treating this like a conventional breach, expecting static defenses and predictable countermeasures. They had no idea what they were really walking into. They're good, Jason observed from his vantage point, but they don't understand what they're really facing. Amanda didn't respond. Instead, she watched the monitors as Rex 2 and Ghost moved into their designated positions, their military training evident in the way they held their ground, perfectly still, waiting for the command. The dogs had been trained for this exact situation, their ability to operate as independent tactical units making them more than just deterrents. They were weapons in their own right. Execute pattern Sierra, Amanda commanded. All K9 units activate on my mark. The first breach came with professional efficiency, the point man sweeping the darkness with an infrared laser, expecting to locate weak points in the facility's defenses. He barely had time to register the movement before his voice came through the comms. Contact front, multiple K9 moving in patterns we've never... His words were cut short. Thunder and shadow struck first, but this wasn't a reckless attack, this was strategy, honed through months of specialized training. The dogs didn't simply engage, they manipulated the battlefield, forcing the elite operators into predetermined containment zones, cutting off their escape routes, dismantling their formation before they even knew what hit them. In a matter of seconds, the entire East team was eliminated. East team neutralized, Kevin confirmed. They never saw it coming. But El Fantasma's remaining teams were quick to adjust. Their professionalism showed in the way they adapted, switching tactics to counter the unexpected threat. They didn't panic, didn't break formation, instead they deployed specialized countermeasures. They've got sonic deterrence, Jason warned, military-grade anti-KK9 gear. Amanda barely hesitated before issuing the next command. Implement Protocol Echo. Show them why we don't rely on just one approach. Hope Valley's defense shifted instantly. While the elite unit focused on neutralizing the dogs, they failed to realize that the handlers were already maneuvering through concealed positions, executing flanking maneuvers to turn the battlefield against them. Hope Valley's defenses weren't just about the K9s. It was about the seamless integration between human and K9, a synergy that no traditional force had ever encountered before. Multiple breaches on the west wall. A handler's voice came through, urgent but controlled. They're pushing with everything they've got. Amanda watched through the tactical display, noting how the elite unit's movements were becoming increasingly aggressive. Their initial precision had begun to break down, their discipline slipping under the pressure of a battlefield that refused to behave the way they expected. They're getting reckless, Kevin muttered, his eyes locked on the screens. El Fantasma must be pushing them hard. Through the surveillance feeds, Amanda spotted the cartel leader pacing on the ridge, his frustration evident in every sharp movement. He was running out of options, his best teams failing in ways he had never anticipated. This wasn't just an operation gone wrong, this was a disaster, a direct challenge to his authority. His attacks were becoming erratic, his commands more frantic. All units maintain defensive positions, Amanda ordered. They're going to try something desperate, stay alert. Moments later, Rachel's voice came through the comms, calm but urgent. Amanda, we've got movement near the medical bunker again. Different approach this time. Amanda's stomach tightened. In the underground facility, wounded handlers gripped their weapons, their K9 partners maintaining their protective stances. Even injured, these teams remained intact, their trust in each other absolute. The bond between a handler and their dog wasn't just about training, it was something deeper, something unshakable, forged through years of shared survival. Diego, Thunder, move to reinforce medical, Amanda ordered. Pattern Omega in effect. The two dogs moved through the underground tunnels with eerie precision, slipping through the darkness like phantoms, their handlers close behind. The elite unit never even saw them coming. Minutes later, Jason's voice crackled through the comms. Targets neutralized, medical sector secure. There was a pause, then a hint of admiration in his voice. You should have seen Diego and Thunder. Perfect tactical coordination. Amanda exhaled, allowing herself a single moment of satisfaction. These dogs weren't just trained assets. They were battlefield-tested warriors, fully aware of what was at stake. They had outperformed some of the most experienced operators in the world, not just through instinct, but through strategy, through discipline, through sheer mastery of their craft. Kevin's voice cut through her thoughts, multiple vehicles moving up the south road. Amanda's expression hardened. El Fantasma wasn't finished. He was preparing for his final move. Kevin's voice remained steady though the tension was clear. Looks like they're staging for another assault. Through her night vision optics, Amanda watched as El Fantasma's remaining forces repositioned for what felt like their final push. The cartel leader had thrown everything he had into this battle, yet his elite unit's repeated failures had shaken him. The carefully orchestrated attack that was supposed to overwhelm Hope Valley had instead turned into a disaster. Now he had only one option left. Brute force. Status report, Amanda demanded, moving swiftly between command positions. 2 more handlers wounded. Non-critical, Rachel responded over the comms. Dogs are showing signs of fatigue, but they're maintaining tactical discipline. The cross-training is holding up under real combat conditions. Amanda took a steady breath, glancing around at her defenders. Each handler was running final checks on their equipment, their movements efficient and controlled. Their canine partners remained in peak readiness, poised for the next engagement. This wasn't just about endurance, it was about trust, about the unbreakable connection between these handlers and their dogs. These animals weren't trained just to attack. They had been taught to think, to adapt, to move like a coordinated tactical force. "They're bringing up their heavy weapons," Jason reported. "El Fantasma is going to try and suppress our positions while his elite unit makes another push." Amanda's eyes locked onto the tactical display, analyzing the enemy's movement. The next phase of the battle wouldn't just test Hope Valley's defenses, it would be the ultimate proof of everything they had built here. This wasn't just about protecting the facility, this was about proving that military working dogs weren't just tools of war, they were warriors, partners, force multipliers who could stand against any threat. "All units prepare for maximum response," she broadcasted. "Let's show them why Hope Valley's reputation was earned through more than just basic training." The night sky erupted with fire as the cartel forces unleashed their final assault. The sheer volume of gunfire and explosives made it clear El Fantasma had abandoned strategy. He wanted to crush Hope Valley with overwhelming force, but he was about to learn why his best-trained men had already failed, why every attempt to breach this facility had crumbled before it. Rex pressed against Amanda's leg, his posture radiating anticipation. She placed a steadying hand on his head, feeling the raw energy beneath his fur. This was why they trained. This was why Hope Valley existed. These weren't just trained animals, they were soldiers who had never stopped fighting. And tonight, one last time, they would prove it. Through the facility's surveillance feeds, Amanda tracked Ghost and Shadow as they executed another flawless flanking maneuver. Moving like ghosts through the darkness, the dogs used the landscape to their advantage, vanishing behind natural cover before reappearing exactly where they were needed most. This was the reason Hope Valley's training had become legendary, because it created more than just security dogs. It created warriors capable of rewriting battlefield tactics. "They're pushing toward the command center," Kevin warned. "3 teams, heavy weapons." Amanda made her decision without hesitation. "Implement Protocol Zulu, all K9 units prepare for close quarters engagement." Instantly, the facility came to life. Handler teams shifted into their most advanced defensive formations, each movement executed with absolute precision. This was the moment they had trained for, the ultimate test of everything Hope Valley had developed. The elite unit moved in with professional skill, their attack meticulously coordinated. But what they didn't realize was that Hope Valley's defenders had been holding back, waiting for the perfect moment to unveil their most advanced tactical innovations. The moment the signal was given, everything changed. Protocol Zulu transformed Hope Valley's defense into something the cartel forces never anticipated. Hidden barriers rose from concealed positions, cutting off their escape routes. Specialized lighting systems activated, disrupting their night vision gear, forcing them into complete disorientation. The elite soldiers hesitated, realizing too late that the battlefield was shifting against them. But the real surprise came from above. "All K9 units execute vertical deployment," Amanda commanded, her voice razor-sharp with focus. The elite unit barely had time to react. Thunder and Ghost descended from pre-positioned platforms, their harnesses allowing them to rappel down from seemingly impossible angles. The cartel forces were completely unprepared for an attack from above. As the dogs struck with devastating precision, the combination of military training and Hope Valley's revolutionary tactics created something entirely new, something the enemy had never seen before. 2 teams neutralized, Kevin confirmed, tracking the action through thermal imaging. They never expected dogs to attack from above. Across the compound, a voice roared over the chaos. El Fantasmas. His fury was unmistakable, his orders frantic. He was no longer calculating, he was desperate. His patience had evaporated, his precision shattered. Amanda watched as the cartel leader barked commands to his remaining forces, but it was clear his control over the battle was slipping. "He's ordering a full frontal assault," Kevin said. "No more tactics, no more precision, he's going all in." Amanda's grip tightened on her radio. El Fantasma had just made his last mistake. Hope Valley wasn't just going to survive this battle, it was going to end it. Jason's voice remained steady but watchful. "He's making a mistake breaking his forces into smaller units." From her vantage point, Amanda could see exactly what was happening. El Fantasma, in his desperation, had lost the strategic patience he had relied on in the early hours of the assault. His men were scattering into smaller squads, trying to find gaps in Hope Valley's defenses, unaware that this was exactly what Amanda had been waiting for. Rex stood poised at her side, his alert posture reflecting her own sharp focus. "Execute pattern Delta," she ordered, her voice calm, controlled. "Show them why we train for distributed warfare." Pattern Delta was one of Hope Valley's most advanced strategies, developed for scenarios just like this. Instead of holding static positions, the K9 teams divided into dynamic pairs, each dog working with a handler to control specific sectors of the battlefield. Instead of allowing the enemy to dictate the fight, Hope Valley's defenders would now control the flow of battle, shifting from multiple angles, shifting their tactics seamlessly in response to enemy movements. The cartel had expected rigid defenses easily overrun by a superior force. What they had not expected was an adaptive, decentralized resistance that could outmaneuver them at every turn. "Contact West," a handler reported through the comms. "They're trying to breach the command center." Amanda's eyes flicked to the facility cameras tracking the attempted breach. Shadow and Diego were already moving to intercept, slipping through the shadows with an eerie precision that made them seem almost supernatural. The moment the cartel forces breached the perimeter, the two dogs struck in perfect synchronization, their highly specialized training evident in the way they controlled the engagement zone. The cartel soldiers barely had time to react before being driven back into a kill box, their attempts at coordinated movement crumbling under the relentless assault. "Multiple tangos down," Kevin confirmed over the radio, "but they're still pushing. El Fantasma must have something big planned." The answer came moments later as a thunderous explosion shook the facility's northern perimeter. The cartel had deployed their remaining demolition charges, not to breach the walls this time, but to create chaos, to blind Hope Valley's defenders, to disrupt their formations, to open a path for a final, desperate assault. "All units fall back to hardened positions," Amanda ordered without hesitation. "Implement scorched earth protocols." Through the swirling smoke and shifting shadows, the cartel forces advanced, expecting to find Hope Valley's teams in disarray, struggling to recover from the blast. Instead, they walked straight into the facility's final layer of defenses, pre-prepared kill zones where handlers and K9 teams were already waiting. The ambush was immediate, precise. Hope Valley's dogs weren't just reacting to enemy movements, they were anticipating them. Unlike standard attack animals, these dogs didn't just follow orders, they executed tactical maneuvers, coordinating with their handlers to control the battle as though it had been scripted from the start. "Amanda," Rachel's voice came through the comms, tight with urgency. "They've breached sub-level 2, moving toward the medical sector." Amanda's expression hardened. In the underground medical facility, wounded handlers had already armed themselves, their injuries doing nothing to diminish their will to fight. Their K9 partners remained at their sides, unwavering, protective, understanding instinctively that their handlers could not afford to fall. This was more than duty, this was survival. "Ghost, Thunder, converge on medical," Amanda commanded. "Show them why we cross-train for underground operations." The two dogs moved as one, slipping into the facility's tunnel network, their handlers following close behind. When the cartel team breached the medical sector's outer defenses, they met something they had never trained for, an enemy that could strike from anywhere, move through confined spaces without hesitation, and turn an enclosed battleground into a death trap. Within minutes, Jason's voice came through the radio, clear and steady. "Targets neutralized, medical sector secure." Amanda exhaled slowly, adjusting her tactical scope to scan the ridgeline. El Fantasma was there, his posture rigid, his movements quick and agitated. His lieutenants stood close, their body language betraying growing discord. The cartel leader's carefully laid plan had unraveled before his eyes, every calculated move countered, every attempt at control shattered. "Status report," she demanded as she moved between defensive positions. 3 more handlers wounded, non-critical, Rachel reported. "Dogs are maintaining combat effectiveness, but we're seeing signs of extended operation fatigue." Amanda didn't need the report to know that her teams were pushing their limits, but she also knew that this was the final stretch, the last move on the board. Around her, Hope Valley's defenders braced themselves, weapons checked, dogs remaining in high alert. These weren't just trained K9s anymore, they were battle-hardened soldiers who understood exactly what was at stake. "Multiple vehicles moving up the south road," Kevin warned, his tone sharpened with tension. "Heavy weapons mounted, looks like their final push." Amanda studied the tactical display, tracking enemy positions. El Fantasma was throwing everything he had left into this last desperate charge, but she saw the cracks forming. His forces lacked the coordination that had made them dangerous in the beginning. The precision was gone. They were moving on sheer desperation now. All units prepare for maximum response, Amanda broadcasted, her voice steady, absolute. They think they've seen everything we can do. Show them why Hope Valley's reputation was earned through more than just basic training. The night exploded into controlled chaos. Handler teams moved in synchronized counterattacks, each K9 unit executing pre-planned maneuvers with precision. Ghost and Thunder targeted the cartel's heavy weapons teams, striking before they could establish firing positions. Rex 2 and Shadow provided tactical support, cutting off flanking attempts before they could gain ground. Each movement, each decision, was the culmination of months of intensive training, refined into something beyond strategy. This was instinct, discipline, and purpose forged together into a single unstoppable force. "Command, we've got movement on the ridge," Jason reported. El Fantasma's personal guard is repositioning. Amanda adjusted her night vision optics, tracking the new formation. The cartel leader's elite protection detail was shifting their stance, taking up new positions with an urgency that suggested something she had been waiting for. The moment when El Fantasma realized he was losing, El Fantasma was no longer sitting back and commanding from the ridge. He was preparing to personally direct the final assault. His patience had evaporated, his strategic approach replaced by sheer desperation. Amanda could see it in the way his forces moved, scattered and unfocused, reacting instead of planning. This was the moment she had been waiting for. "Status on Pattern Omega," she asked, her voice steady as she reached a reinforced firing position. "Ready on your mark," Kevin confirmed. "Dogs are in position." Pattern Omega represented Hope Valley's most advanced tactical response, a system designed not just for defense but for complete battlefield control. It transformed the entire facility into a synchronized battle space where every K9 and handler knew their precise role in the larger strategy. The dogs weren't just attacking, they were maneuvering, funneling, and controlling the enemy in ways that no human-only force could ever replicate. The moment Amanda gave the order, Hope Valley's defenders would shift from defense to absolute dominance. "Execute," she commanded. The night erupted into controlled precision. Hope Valley's K9 units emerged from hidden positions across the compound, striking with a level of coordination that made it impossible for the cartel forces to regroup. Ghost and Thunder executed another flawless flanking maneuver, their movements blending into the terrain, using every natural advantage to stay invisible until it was too late. The enemy never saw them coming. In sector after sector, the cartel's attempts to advance were countered before they could even take shape. "They're pulling back from the north sector," Kevin reported, satisfaction in his tone. El Fantasma lost control of his forward units. Amanda allowed herself a tight smile. The cartel leader had made a fatal error. His forces had relied on rigid disciplined tactics at the start of the assault, but now, scattered and under constant attack, they had lost the very coordination that had made them dangerous. They were fragmented, vulnerable. This was the moment to crush them completely. "All units maintain pressure," she ordered. "Don't let them regroup. Show them why military dogs are different from attack dogs." Across the compound, Hope Valley's defenders pressed their advantage. K9 teams moved with unmatched precision, executing strategies they had trained for over countless hours. This was why Hope Valley existed, to prove that working dogs weren't just tools, they were warriors, force multipliers capable of turning the tide of battle. Rex 2 remained at Amanda's side, his unwavering posture speaking volumes. He knew just as well as she did that this was the moment everything had been leading to. Tonight they would prove, once and for all, why Hope Valley's reputation was built on more than just training. Then, cutting through the night, came El Fantasma's voice, no longer broadcast over encrypted radio, no longer the calm, measured commands of a man in control. He was shouting now, fury overtaking strategy. "Bring up the incendiary weapons," he barked in Spanish. "Burn it all, burn everything." Amanda's stomach tightened. Through her tactical scope, she watched as cartel soldiers scrambled to carry out his orders, hauling forward something she had hoped they wouldn't have: military-grade thermite charges. "All handlers, fall back to fire-hardened zones," she ordered immediately. "Implement Protocol Inferno." Protocol Inferno was something Hope Valley had developed but never wanted to use. Defensive measures designed specifically for extreme thermal threats. It wasn't just about fire resistance, it was about adapting to an environment where everything burned. As handlers guided their K9 partners to protected positions, the facility's most advanced countermeasures activated. Reinforced fire barriers deployed, heat-resistant shielding sealed critical access points, and the ventilation systems switched to emergency filtration mode. The cartel thought they were about to burn Hope Valley to the ground. Instead, they were about to learn that fire was just another variable Amanda had prepared for. "They're setting up burn teams," Kevin reported. "Tracking multiple heat signatures, 4-man units, professional demolitions experts." Through the command center's reinforced windows, Amanda watched as Rex 2 and Ghost coordinated their response, their training allowing them to remain laser-focused despite the intensifying danger. The dogs had never been trained simply to attack. They had been trained to think, to adapt, to remain calm in environments where lesser units would panic. "Amanda," Rachel's voice came through, urgent but controlled. "Temperature sensors are spiking in sectors 3 and 7. They're using something new." Amanda's jaw tightened as she scanned the thermal feeds. The cartel's burn teams moved with practiced efficiency, deploying their weapons in a formation designed to cut off escape routes and force Hope Valley's defenders into a firestorm. They were attempting to push the K9 teams into a corner, trapping them where the flames would do their work for them. But once again, they had underestimated what Hope Valley had trained for. "Execute Pattern Omega 3, Amanda commanded. "Show them why we spent months training for thermal conditions." The facility's response transformed what looked like a weakness into an advantage. Hope Valley's defenders had trained in high-temperature scenarios, learning how to maneuver in environments where traditional combat units would falter. The cartel burn teams, focused entirely on deploying their incendiary devices, failed to notice the K9 units moving through pre-planned, fire-protected escape routes. In a matter of minutes, they had been outflanked, their entire strategy turned against them. "Multiple contacts, east perimeter," Jason called out over the comms. "They're pushing hard toward the training center." Amanda adjusted her thermal optics, tracking the next wave of movement. This wasn't just a fight for the facility anymore. This was the last stand. The final push. And Hope Valley was ready. The flames cast eerie shadows across the compound, smoke billowing into the sky as the battle raged on. Amanda tracked Shadow and Thunder as they executed another flawless flanking maneuver, their sleek forms barely visible in the growing inferno. Each movement was deliberate, every step calculated to maximize efficiency and minimize exposure. Their specialized training allowed them to navigate the chaos without hesitation, their focus unwavering. "Target their burn teams first," Amanda ordered. "Don't let them establish a complete fire barrier." Hope Valley's defenders moved as one, their training proving why this facility was unlike anything the cartel had ever encountered. The K9 units didn't simply attack, they controlled the battlefield. Each dog and handler worked in perfect tandem, funneling enemies into designated kill zones, systematically dismantling the cartel's demolition teams before they could finish deploying their incendiary charges. Within moments, the once meticulously planned fire barrier was collapsing. "2 burn teams neutralized," Kevin confirmed, "but El Fantasma's pushing more forward. He's committing everything." The cartel leader's voice carried across the compound, his anger no longer restrained. His reputation, his authority within Los Guerreros Muertos, everything depended on breaking Hope Valley's defenses. He had planned for an overwhelming decisive victory, and instead he was watching his forces fall apart. "Bring up the heavy weapons," he bellowed. "Suppress their positions. Don't let those dogs move." Amanda studied the tactical display, noting the shifting patterns of enemy forces. El Fantasma's frustration had made him reckless, stripping him of the careful, methodical approach that had made his assault so dangerous in the beginning. He was abandoning complex tactics in favor of brute force, hoping that sheer firepower would break Hope Valley's resistance. But brute force was predictable. Predictability could be countered. "All units, prepare for maximum response," Amanda broadcasted. "Pattern Delta in effect. Trust your dogs, trust your training." Through the surveillance feeds, she watched Diego and Thunder move in perfect synchronization, closing in on another burn team. Their handlers worked alongside them, providing coordinated support as they executed the containment maneuvers they had spent months refining. Every movement was calculated, every strike precise. The cartel forces barely had time to react before they were overwhelmed, their last-ditch effort to set the compound ablaze falling apart before their eyes. "Contact, front," a handler's voice crackled through the comms. "They're trying to breach the medical bunker again." Amanda's mind shifted immediately. In the underground facility, wounded personnel had already positioned themselves for close-quarters combat, their determination burning just as fiercely as the fires outside. Their injuries did nothing to lessen their resolve. If anything, they were more determined than ever to hold their position. Their dogs stood at their sides, their unwavering discipline reflecting the bond that had been forged through years of training and trust. Ghost, Shadow, reinforce medical, Amanda commanded. Pattern Sigma active, show them why we cross-train for thermal operations. The two dogs slipped into Hope Valley's protected tunnels, their movements eerily smooth despite the rising heat. Every hallway, every passage had been mapped out in their minds, their instincts guiding them through the facility with the kind of precision only a military K9 could achieve. When the cartel forces finally breached the outer defenses, they didn't encounter scattered resistance. They walked straight into a tactical trap. Targets contained, Jason reported moments later, medical sector secure. Then, after a short pause, he added, "But, Amanda, you need to see this." Amanda adjusted her command scope, scanning the battlefield, and then she saw it. El Fantasma had moved even closer to the front lines. His personal guards struggled to maintain formation around him, their usual discipline wavering. The cartel leader's desperation was beginning to manifest in ways even his own men could see. "He's losing control," Kevin observed. "His own men are starting to hesitate." The change was unmistakable. His voice, once filled with controlled fury, now carried a new undertone, desperation. He was no longer issuing strategic commands. He was shouting orders with increasing urgency, trying to salvage a battle that was slipping through his fingers. One by one, his calculated attacks were failing, and his forces were beginning to realize it. "Status report," Amanda demanded, moving between command positions. 5 more handlers wounded, 2 critical, Rachel responded. "Dogs are showing signs of heat stress, but they're maintaining tactical discipline. The thermal training protocols are working." Amanda took a deep breath, scanning the situation. The battle had pushed everyone to their limits, but Hope Valley's defenders had adapted. Every handler guided their K9 through practiced maneuvers, the coordination between human and K9 seamless even under the most extreme conditions. They weren't just surviving the assault, they were winning. "They're bringing up their reserves," Kevin warned. "El Fantasma is committing his last heavy assets." Amanda shifted her gaze to the south, where the cartel's remaining vehicles were moving into position. This was it, the final wave, the last throw of the dice. The next phase of the battle wouldn't just test Hope Valley's defenses, it would test the very philosophy that had shaped this facility. It would prove once and for all that military working dogs weren't just assets, but a force capable of changing the course of warfare itself. "All units, maintain defensive positions," she ordered. "They think they can break us with brute force. Show them why Hope Valley's reputation was earned through more than just basic training." Rex Texa pressed against her leg, his presence grounding her in the moment. His body was tense, his muscles coiled, but there was no hesitation in his eyes, only absolute focus. Amanda reached down, running a hand over his head, feeling the raw energy beneath his fur. These dogs weren't just trained animals, they were warriors, soldiers who had never stopped serving, and tonight they would prove it against the harshest conditions they had ever faced. Through the facility's surveillance network, Amanda watched as Ghost and Thunder executed yet another perfect containment maneuver. Despite the scorching heat, despite the suffocating conditions, the dogs moved with a level of precision that no human soldier could match. They utilized protected routes, outflanking cartel positions before the enemy even realized they were there. Their training was holding. Their discipline was unwavering. Then, across the command net, a voice cut through the controlled chaos. "Multiple breaches, west wall. They're pushing with everything they've got." Amanda's grip tightened on her weapon. This was it. El Fantasma had one final play left, and Hope Valley was ready. The night erupted into controlled chaos as handler teams executed perfectly coordinated counterattacks. This was the moment they had trained for, the moment where everything depended on the seamless synchronization between human and canine partners. Every move, every command, every reaction had been drilled into them over months of intensive preparation. Across the battlefield, Hope Valley's defenders demonstrated why their training was unlike anything the cartel had ever encountered. El Fantasma's voice cut through the night, his fury rising as he ordered another push forward, but his men's response lacked the precision and discipline they had shown earlier. His desperation had infected his entire force, turning once coordinated attacks into increasingly chaotic and disorganized assaults. "Hold the line," Amanda's voice carried across the comms, unwavering. "Show them why military dogs are different from attack dogs. Show them why Hope Valley exists." The thermite charges transformed sections of Hope Valley into an inferno, the raging flames threatening to consume everything in their path. But Amanda's preparations held firm. The facility's fire suppression systems activated automatically. dousing critical areas while protected routes allowed defenders to hold their tactical positions. This wasn't just about enduring the heat. It was about using it against the enemy. The cartel had believed they could burn Hope Valley to the ground, but instead they had created the battlefield Amanda had already prepared for. Temperature reaching critical levels in Sector 5, Rachel reported, monitoring the environmental sensors. But the dogs are maintaining discipline. The heat training is paying off. Through the command center's reinforced windows, Amanda tracked Rex Second and Ghost as they moved through the flames with calculated precision. There was no hesitation, no wasted motion, their military training evident in the way they adapted to extreme conditions. Where lesser forces might have faltered, these dogs thrived, their instincts sharpened by the very chaos their enemies had tried to unleash. Multiple contacts, moving tactical, Kevin warned. They're using the fire for cover. Amanda shifted her focus, watching as cartel forces attempted to exploit the burning sections of the compound. El Fantasma's voice carried above the chaos, directing his men to push through the gaps created by the fires. He believed the blaze was working in his favor, that Hope Valley's defenses would finally break under the pressure. But his supposed tactical advantage disappeared the moment Amanda gave her next command. "Execute Pattern Phoenix," she ordered. "Show them why we spent 3 months practicing thermal operations." Hope Valley's defenses shifted in an instant. What had appeared to be a vulnerability was now a calculated trap. As the cartel forces advanced through the flames, they found themselves caught in a nightmare of their own making. K9 teams moved like shadows, using the fire's chaotic glow to mask their approach, striking from angles no human enemy could have anticipated. Thunder and Shadow executed a devastating containment maneuver, herding cartel fighters into exposed positions where they were swiftly neutralized. 2 more teams down, Jason confirmed, his voice laced with satisfaction. They never saw Thunder and Shadow coming. The cartel's remaining professional operators tried to adjust, shifting tactics in an effort to counter the unexpected threat, but it was too late. Hope Valley's K9 teams had already seized control of key tactical positions, dictating the flow of battle with ruthless efficiency. El Fantasma's forces were no longer attacking, they were reacting, scrambling to regain footing in a battle that had already turned against them. "Command, we've got movement near the medical bunker," a handler's voice cut through the comms. "Heavy weapons team setting up." Amanda didn't hesitate. "Diego, Ghost, converge on medical, pattern Delta active. Don't let them establish a firing position." The 2 dogs disappeared into the smoke-filled corridors, their handlers following in coordinated pursuit. They moved through the facility's protected routes with flawless execution, their training allowing them to navigate the chaos with deadly efficiency. When the cartel's heavy weapons team attempted to deploy, they were met with something they had never prepared for, an enemy that was faster, smarter, and already 3 steps ahead. "Medical sector secured," Jason reported minutes later. "You should see what Diego did to their heavy gunner. These dogs are performing beyond all expectations." Amanda barely had time to acknowledge the report before Jason's voice returned, sharper this time. "Amanda, you need to see this." Adjusting her tactical scope, Amanda zeroed in on the ridgeline. There, standing exposed, was El Fantasma himself. He had abandoned his secure position, moving dangerously close to the front lines, his frustration overtaking basic security protocols. His personal guards struggled to maintain formation around him, but their discipline had begun to waver. Amanda could see it in their movements, the hesitation, the uncertainty. "He's making mistakes," Kevin observed, breaking his own tactical doctrine. Amanda knew what was happening. El Fantasma's iron grip over his forces was slipping, his leadership unraveling with each failed assault. His men had followed him out of fear, but now they were witnessing something they had never expected: defeat. And with each reckless decision he made, that fear began to shift. The night fills with controlled chaos as handler teams execute coordinated counterattacks, Amanda thought to herself, watching the battlefield unfold with surgical precision. Each dog moved with unwavering focus, their actions synchronized through months of extreme condition training. No matter how many times the cartel adjusted their tactics, Hope Valley's defenders had already prepared for the next move. "Amanda," Rachel's voice came through, urgent but measured. "Environmental sensors are showing dangerous heat levels in the East Wing. Structural integrity might be compromised." El Fantasma seized on the opportunity immediately. His voice, sharp and commanding, rang out through the night. "Concentrate all incendiary attacks on that sector," he ordered. "Burn them out." He believed he had found a weakness, but once again he had underestimated Hope Valley's layered defenses. "Implement Protocol Avalanche," Amanda commanded. Let's show them why we built this facility the way we did." As if responding to her very thoughts, Hope Valley's most sophisticated defensive measures activated. Hidden barriers deployed, redirecting the thermal threat, while fire-resistant corridors allowed defenders to maneuver without risk. The cartel forces had thought they were forcing Hope Valley into a corner, only to realize too late that they were walking straight into another trap. Multiple tangos retreating from the east sector, Kevin confirmed. El Fantasma had thrown everything he had left at Hope Valley. And now he was running out of moves. Kevin's voice came through the comms, steady but tinged with something close to disbelief. They weren't expecting this level of preparation. Through the facility's surveillance feeds, Amanda watched as Ghost and Thunder executed another flawless containment maneuver. The two dogs moved like specters through the flames, their specialized training allowing them to navigate the chaos with perfect control. Every calculated step, every movement was designed for maximum effect, ensuring that the cartel forces never had a chance to regain their footing. "Status report," she demanded, moving swiftly between command positions. "3 more handlers wounded, non-critical," Rachel responded over the comms. "Dogs are showing remarkable resilience to the heat stress. The thermal conditioning is holding." Amanda took a moment to assess the situation. Around her, Hope Valley's defenders maintained their disciplined response, their unwavering focus a testament to years of specialized training. Each handler moved in seamless coordination with their K9 partner, their bond not just a tactical advantage but the defining factor in this battle. The cartel had believed they were fighting a facility. What they had never anticipated was that they were facing an entire force, one that operated as a single unified entity. "They're bringing up more demolition charges," Jason warned. "El Fantasma's trying to collapse our defensive grid." Amanda's gaze sharpened as she studied the tactical display. The cartel leader's frustration had stripped him of the patience and precision that had made his forces dangerous in the early phases of the assault. He was no longer thinking strategically, he was committing resources recklessly, without proper tactical consideration. His desperation had made him predictable. "All units, prepare for maximum response," she broadcasted. "Pattern Omega in effect. Show them why Hope Valley's reputation was earned through more than just basic training." Rex pressed against her leg, his posture steady, his breathing controlled. He didn't need a command to understand what was happening, he could sense it in the air. In Amanda's body language, in the charged energy that filled the command center. These dogs weren't just trained animals. They were warriors who had never stopped serving, and tonight, they were proving it under the harshest conditions imaginable. "Multiple vehicles moving up the south road," Kevin reported. "Heavy weapons mounted. Looks like their final push." Amanda's hands tightened around the edge of the command console as she watched El Fantasma's remaining forces gather for what felt like the decisive assault. The cartel leader had committed everything to this battle, but his forces were no longer moving with the cohesion they had at the start. Their formations were breaking down, their coordination unraveling. "They're targeting the command center," Jason warned. 3 teams. Demolition gear." Amanda made her decision without hesitation. "Implement Protocol Zulu. All K9 units, prepare for close quarters engagement." Instantly, the facility came to life. The remaining defensive positions activated, handlers and K9s moving into their most sophisticated formations. This was what they had trained for, the moment when everything depended on perfect coordination between human and K9 partners. This wasn't just about holding the line, it was about proving once and for all that Hope Valley's philosophy of training was more than theory. It was reality. "Contact front," a handler shouted through the comms. "They're breaching Sector 7. Through the smoke, the flames and the chaos, Hope Valley's defenders moved with unmatched precision. The K9 units didn't simply attack, they controlled. They manipulated the battlefield, forcing the cartel's forces into prepared kill zones, cutting off escape routes, dismantling their momentum piece by piece. Where the cartel saw confusion, Amanda saw strategy. Every dog, every handler was exactly where they needed to be, executing maneuvers they had practiced for months under the most extreme conditions imaginable. "El Fantasma's personal guard is splitting up," Kevin observed, his voice edged with intrigue. "He's losing control of his own protection detail." Amanda tracked the cartel leader through her command scope. His frustration had reached its breaking point, his strategic mind overtaken by raw desperation. His orders were no longer calculated, they were erratic, issued in bursts of anger rather than careful decision-making. This was what failure looked like. "Hold the line," Amanda broadcasted to all units. "Show them why military dogs are different from attack dogs. Show them what Hope Valley really stands for. The night filled with precise, controlled action as Hope Valley's defenders pressed their advantage. Ghost and Thunder targeted the demolition teams, neutralizing them before they could set their charges. Rex 2 and Shadow provided tactical support, cutting off enemy flanking attempts before they could gain any ground. Every movement was perfectly synchronized, refined through months of relentless training. Then, through the facility's advanced surveillance feeds, Amanda saw something that made her blood run cold. El Fantasma is preparing for something desperate, Jason reported. Something that could change the course of the battle. Amanda's jaw tightened as she watched the cartel leader move from his failing command position to the front lines. It was the darkest hour before dawn and he had abandoned his vantage point, taking direct control of his remaining elite operators. His voice rang out across the compound, no longer using encrypted comms. He was done hiding. "Bring up the heavy weapons," he shouted in Spanish. "Target their command center, level everything." Amanda barely had time to react before the tactical display lit up with new warnings. Through thermal imaging, she watched as cartel forces repositioned, bringing forward weapons she had feared they might deploy. Vehicle-mounted heavy machine guns, rocket-propelled grenades, high-explosive munitions. This was everything they had left. "All handlers fall back to hardened positions," Amanda ordered. This was the final battle. El Fantasma had made his last gamble. And Hope Valley was ready. Amanda didn't hesitate. "Implement Protocol Omega-4. Through the command center's reinforced windows, she tracked Rex 2nd and Ghost as they coordinated their response, their movements sharp and calculated. The dogs had been trained for the unexpected, and despite the intensifying chaos, they adapted seamlessly. Their military discipline never wavered, even as the battlefield shifted and the enemy's aggression escalated. "Multiple breaches in Sector 3, Kevin reported. "They're pushing with everything they've got." Amanda adjusted her tactical scope, scanning the battlefield. El Fantasma was no longer leading from behind. He was at the front now, his frustration driving him to take reckless risks. His once meticulous planning had crumbled under repeated failure, and now he was resorting to pure brute force. His personal guards struggled to maintain formation as he stormed across the battlefield, directing his remaining forces with nothing but fury and desperation. "Execute Pattern Hydra," Amanda ordered. "Show them why we cross-train for multiple threat responses." Pattern Hydra transformed Hope Valley's defensive strategy in a way the cartel had never anticipated. As the enemy concentrated on breaching key positions, they failed to notice the K9 teams moving undetected through concealed routes, setting up ambushes that would cut off their retreat before they even realized what was happening. This wasn't just about defending the compound anymore, it was about dismantling the assault piece by piece, ensuring there would be no way back for El Fantasma's forces. "Contact west," Jason's voice cut through the comms. "Heavy weapons team setting up firing positions." Amanda switched views to the facility's surveillance feeds. Thunder and Shadow were already in motion, slipping through the debris and smoke like shadows themselves. They worked in perfect synchronization, their handlers guiding them with precise commands through encrypted communications. Within seconds, the two dogs had reached the cartel's heavy weapons team, striking with the kind of ruthless efficiency that had made Hope Valley's K9 program legendary. "Target neutralized," Kevin confirmed, "but there's more coming. El Fantasma's committing everything he has left." The cartel leader's voice rang out over the battlefield, no longer measured and calculated. His fury had overridden his strategic thinking, his tactical judgment replaced with pure rage. He wasn't just trying to take Hope Valley, he was trying to annihilate it. "Amanda," Rachel's voice came through the comms, urgent but controlled. "Environmental sensors are showing critical stress in multiple sectors. The facility is taking heavy damage." Amanda's jaw tightened. She knew Hope Valley had been built for endurance, but even the strongest defenses couldn't withstand this kind of relentless assault forever. Still, the defenders held their ground. This was why they had trained for so long, why they had spent months perfecting their techniques. Hope Valley's dogs weren't simply reacting to the fight, they were controlling it, executing containment maneuvers that forced the cartel forces into prepared kill zones, limiting their movement, choking off their advances before they could gain traction. "Multiple vehicles approaching from the south," Kevin warned. "Modified technicals, with mounted weapons." Amanda's eyes flicked back to the tactical display. El Fantasma's frustration had blinded him. He was abandoning all sophisticated tactics in favor of one final brute force assault. He believed that if he threw enough firepower at Hope Valley, he could finally break through. But he had miscalculated. "All units prepare for maximum response," she ordered. Pattern Lambda active. Trust your dogs, trust your training. Through her command scope, Amanda spotted El Fantasma weaving between attacking units, shouting orders, personally directing the assault. His exposed position presented an opportunity. One clean shot could take him down and end this. But Amanda knew better. This was a trap. He wanted Hope Valley's defenders to focus on him, to leave themselves vulnerable in the process. "They're targeting the medical bunker again," Jason reported. "Heavy demolition charges." Amanda exhaled sharply. In the underground facility, wounded handlers prepared themselves, gripping their weapons, their canine partners standing at their sides. Their injuries had not diminished their fighting spirit. Instead, they were more determined than ever to hold their ground. "Ghost, Diego, move to reinforce medical," Amanda commanded. "Pattern Sigma in effect. Show them why we train for underground operations." The two dogs moved without hesitation, slipping into Hope Valley's protected tunnels, their specialized training allowing them to navigate the facility with unparalleled precision. The cartel forces breached the outer defenses, expecting to find easy targets. Instead, they walked straight into a coordinated ambush, met with a resistance so swift and calculated that they never had a chance to react. "Medical sector secured," Kevin confirmed minutes later, "but we've got multiple contacts moving on the command center." Amanda turned her focus back to the tactical display. Through thermal imaging, she tracked El Fantasma's elite unit deploying into formation. This was it, his final move. The last of his professional operators, the men he had saved for this moment, were now committing to the decisive assault. If this push failed, there would be nothing left for the cartel to fall back on. "Status report," Amanda demanded, moving swiftly between command positions. "4 more handlers wounded, non-critical," Rachel responded. "Dogs are maintaining combat effectiveness, but we're seeing signs of extended operation fatigue." Amanda nodded to herself. They had been fighting for hours under brutal conditions, and yet, despite everything, they were still standing. Around her, handlers adjusted their weapons, checked their gear, and shared silent nods with their canine partners. The exhaustion in their bodies was overpowered by the unshakable determination in their eyes. These weren't just trained animals. These were combat veterans who had dedicated their lives to something bigger than themselves. And now, at the turning point of the battle, they would hold the line one final time. "They're bringing up their reserve ammunition," Kevin reported. Amanda steadied herself, inhaling deeply. The battle wasn't over, not yet, but she could feel it. El Fantasma's forces were reaching their breaking point. One last push, one final stand, and Hope Valley would prove once and for all why they had never been just a training facility. They were something more. And tonight they would show the world exactly what that meant. Jason's voice crackled through the comms, urgency laced in every word. "El Fantasma is planning something big." Amanda didn't hesitate. "Implement Protocol Phoenix. All K9 units prepare for coordinated response." The facility's remaining defensive positions activated, handler teams shifting into their most sophisticated tactical maneuvers. This was it. The moment everything had been building toward. Every lesson, every drill, every battle-tested strategy was about to be put to the ultimate test. Across the compound, Hope Valley's defenders braced themselves, their canine partners moving in perfect unison with them. "Multiple breaches north wall," a voice cut through the command net. "They're pushing with everything they've got." Through the chaos, Hope Valley's defenders showcased why their training methods had redefined tactical canine operations. Each dog team moved with precision, their actions synchronized after months of grueling preparation. These weren't random attacks, they were calculated responses designed to shift the battlefield in their favor, to counter every move before the enemy even had time to react. "El Fantasma's personal guard is breaking formation," Kevin observed. "He's exposing himself to direct fire." Amanda adjusted her scope, tracking the cartel leader's erratic movements. His frustration had reached its peak. His commands, once calculated, were becoming reckless. He was taking risks no experienced leader should take, his tactical discipline eroding with each failed attack. "Hold the line," Amanda broadcasted. "Show them why military dogs are different from attack dogs. Show them what Hope Valley stands for." Rex Tech pressed against her leg, his posture solid and unwavering. He didn't need a command, he could feel it in the air. Tonight, every K9 in this fight was about to prove one final time why they were more than just animals. They were warriors. Then, through the facility's surveillance network, Amanda spotted something that sent a fresh wave of tension through her. Movement. Not just another standard push, something different, something calculated. El Fantasma is preparing for something desperate, she murmured, adjusting her tactical scope. Something that could turn this battle on its head. All units maintain defensive positions, she ordered, her voice calm but firm. Whatever comes next, trust your dogs, trust your training. This is what Hope Valley was built for. The cartel leader's final gambit began with a deafening explosion. Hope Valley's outer defenses rocked violently as military-grade explosives detonated in rapid succession. Multiple wall failures in sectors 4 through 7, Kevin reported, his tone clipped. They're coming through in force. Amanda's hands tightened around the console as she studied the thermal imaging feeds. She didn't just see cartel soldiers pouring through the breach, she saw El Fantasma himself, leading his remaining elite operators. His movements were sharp, practiced. This wasn't just a cartel boss commanding from the rear, he was a soldier. A former Special Forces operator. All handlers execute pattern Omega 5, Amanda ordered. Show them why we prepared for this exact scenario. Through the command center's reinforced windows, she watched as Rex 2 and Ghost locked in on their targets. They moved with deadly precision, weaving through the wreckage like shadows. Their military training was evident in every step, every adjustment. These weren't dogs charging blindly into battle, these were specialists executing a mission. Heavy weapons teams setting up in the breach, Jason warned. They're trying to establish a firebase. El Fantasma's leading them personally, Kevin added. He's directing their movements like a battlefield commander. Amanda could see it. The cartel leader still had his tactical instincts, issuing orders with the kind of expertise that only came from experience, but his rage had made him careless. He was so focused on pushing forward that he failed to notice the subtle shifts in movement around him, Hope Valley's K9 units maneuvering unseen through concealed positions. Thunder, Shadow, move to interdict, Amanda commanded. Pattern Delta active. Don't let them get those heavy weapons online. The two dogs slipped into the battlefield utilizing Hope Valley's innovative training techniques to outflank the enemy. This wasn't just about attacking, it was about control. Within moments, the cartel's firebase became a disaster zone, their gunners forced to abandon their positions as the dogs dismantled their setup with methodical precision. Farbal neutralized, Kevin confirmed, but El Fantasma still pushing forward with his assault teams. Amanda exhaled slowly, watching as the cartel leader made his final move. His remaining forces moved with professional precision, but there was an undeniable sense of desperation in their actions now. They weren't advancing with confidence anymore. They were fighting because they had no other choice. Amanda, Rachel's voice broke through the comms. Medical reports. 3 more handlers down, non-critical, but we're running out of combat-effective personnel. Amanda didn't flinch. They had come too far to stop now. Through the facility's surveillance cameras, she spotted Diego and Ghost executing yet another containment maneuver. The dogs moved with seamless coordination, cutting off enemy escape routes while their handlers provided covering fire. Then another alert flashed across her screen. Multiple contacts approaching the command center. This was it. El Fantasma wasn't retreating, he was going all in. Kevin's voice came through the comms, sharp with urgency. El Fantasma is leading them personally. Amanda made her decision instantly. Implement Protocol Chimera. All K9 units, prepare for close quarters engagement. Protocol Chimera was Hope Valley's most advanced defensive strategy, an integrated response system that transformed the entire facility into a tactical grid. Every movement, every counterattack was coordinated, designed to maximize efficiency and precision. When the signal was given, multiple K9 teams emerged from concealed positions, ready to execute the final stage of the battle. Contact front. A handler's voice rang through the command net. They've breached the inner perimeter. Amanda adjusted her scope, tracking the movement of El Fantasma's elite unit. These weren't standard cartel soldiers, these were the best of the best, the ones he had held back until now. They moved with professional precision, their formation tight, their advance relentless. This was it. The final push. Status report, Amanda demanded, moving swiftly between command positions. 5 handlers still combat effective, Rachel responded. Dogs are showing fatigue but maintaining tactical discipline. The training is holding. Amanda's gaze swept over her defenders. Hope Valley's last line stood firm, checking their weapons, steadying their breathing, reinforcing their positions. The K9s remained poised, muscles tense, eyes locked onto the enemy. They weren't just trained animals, they were combat veterans, and they knew exactly what was at stake. They're bringing up demolition charges, Jason warned. They're trying to collapse our defensive positions. Through her thermal optics, Amanda spotted El Fantasma himself, directing the placement of explosives with the precision of a seasoned operator. This wasn't just an assault, this was calculated destruction. He knew exactly where to hit, targeting structural weak points that could compromise Hope Valley's foundation. "Execute pattern Phoenix," Amanda ordered. "Show them why we built this facility in layers." The facility's response was immediate. What had seemed like a weakness became a tactical advantage. As the cartel's demolition teams focused on placing their charges, they failed to notice the K9 teams maneuvering through the protected routes. The trap had been set, and Hope Valley's defenders were ready to spring it. "Multiple breaches in Sector 2, a voice cut through the comms. "They're pushing with everything they've got." The battle intensified, but Hope Valley's defenders refused to break. Each K9 team moved with precision, their actions seamlessly synchronized after months of specialized training. Every breach attempt was met with calculated resistance, every enemy move countered before it could gain momentum. "El Fantasma has reached the secondary defensive line," Kevin reported. "He's exposed himself to direct engagement." Amanda's focus narrowed as she adjusted her scope. The cartel leader was no longer just commanding, he was fighting. His frustration had overtaken his tactical discipline, pushing him into unnecessary risks. He was so determined to break Hope Valley that he was no longer thinking like a commander. He was thinking like a man with nothing left to lose. "Hold position," Amanda broadcasted. "Let them commit fully to the assault. Show them why military dogs are different from attack dogs." Rex Tex pressed against her leg, his unwavering presence reminding her of everything they had trained for. These dogs had never stopped serving, they had never stopped fighting, and tonight they would prove it in the most decisive way possible. Then, through the surveillance system, Amanda spotted something crucial. El Fantasma's aggressive push has separated him from his personal guard, she realized. His determination to lead from the front had finally created a fatal vulnerability. "All units prepare for maximum response," she ordered. "Pattern Omega in effect. This is what we've trained for. This is why Hope Valley exists." The night erupted into precise, controlled action. Handler teams executed their most advanced maneuvers, moving in perfect coordination. Ghost and Thunder targeted the cartel's demolition teams, neutralizing the threat before they could detonate their charges. Rex Tech and Shadow provided tactical support, ensuring no enemy could reposition without being intercepted. "Command, we've got movement on the west flank," Jason reported. "El Fantasma is trying to outflank our position." Amanda's eyes locked onto the tactical display. The cartel leader had made a critical error. In his obsession with breaking Hope Valley, he had walked directly into the facility's most lethal response. "Execute final protocol," Amanda broadcasted. "Show them everything we've got. Show them why you never underestimate American military dogs." Hope Valley's final line of defense activated. Concealed barriers rose from the ground, cutting off El Fantasma's escape routes. Specialized lighting systems engaged, disrupting his remaining forces' night vision, throwing them into complete disarray. "Target acquired," Kevin confirmed. "Tracking the cartel leader's heat signature, he's isolated from his support teams." Amanda steadied her scope, locking onto the man who had tried to bring Hope Valley to its knees. El Fantasma had played his final card. And now it was over. As El Fantasma realized his mistake, his military instincts kicked in, quickly assessing his deteriorating situation, but it was already too late. "Execute Pattern Omega 6, Amanda ordered. "All K9 units converge on primary target." Through the facility's advanced surveillance system, she tracked Ghost and Thunder as they moved into position. The dogs operated like seasoned operators, using terrain features and shadows to mask their approach, their years of military heritage evident in every step. "Multiple tangos trying to reach El Fantasma's position," Jason warned. "His personal guard is attempting to regroup." But Hope Valley's defenders had trained for exactly this scenario. Rex 2 led the containment operation, coordinating with Shadow to keep the cartel forces separated from their leader. The K9 teams moved in perfect unison, cutting off El Fantasma's escape routes and forcing his remaining men into disarray. "The guard teams are falling back," Kevin confirmed. "They've lost tactical cohesion." El Fantasma's voice rang out across the compound, no longer issuing orders, only curses, his frustration echoing through the night. His men were retreating, abandoning him. The one force he had underestimated, the very K9 units he had tried to destroy, had outmaneuvered him at every turn. He had trapped himself. Amanda, Rachel's voice cut through the comms, urgent. Environmental sensors show they're preparing for one last demolition attempt. Major structural damage possible. Amanda adjusted her command scope, locking onto the cartel's remaining demolition teams. They were moving into position, working quickly, but their desperation had made them careless. They didn't see Diego and Thunder slipping through concealed routes, closing in on them like silent hunters. Take down those demo teams, Amanda commanded. Pattern Delta active, don't let them place those charges. Hope Valley's K9 units moved in, executing their maneuvers with flawless precision. This was what their training had been designed for, not just attack but tactical superiority. The demolition teams had no time to react before the dogs struck, their coordinated assaults neutralizing the threat before it could escalate. Demolition teams neutralized, Jason confirmed. But even as Amanda processed the success, Jason's voice returned, sharper this time. El Fantasma has something else planned. He's activating some kind of remote device. Amanda's blood ran cold as she zoomed in on the equipment in the cartel leader's hands. Military-grade detonators, backup charges. All units fall back to hardened positions, she ordered. Implement Protocol Avalanche, now. The first explosions rocked the facility's outer sectors. Smoke and debris filled the air as the cartel's final attempt to destroy Hope Valley ignited around them. But the defenders didn't falter. The layered defenses held, absorbing the worst of the destruction. Multiple structural failures in Sector 5, Kevin reported, but the inner defenses are holding. Through her scope, Amanda watched El Fantasma's reaction to his failed gambit. His posture stiffened, his fingers twitching with anger as he realized his last desperate attack had failed. He had thrown everything at Hope Valley, and it still stood. Status report? Amanda demanded as she moved between command positions. 2 more handlers wounded, non-critical, Rachel responded. Dogs are maintaining combat effectiveness. The training is paying off exactly as designed. Amanda exhaled, steadying herself as she scanned the battlefield. Around her, Hope Valley's defenders readied for the final phase of the battle. The K9 teams remained in perfect coordination with their handlers, their every move reflecting years of discipline and preparation. They're making their last push, Jason warned. El Fantasma's ordered everyone forward. Amanda studied the tactical display, analyzing enemy movements. The cartel leader's desperation had finally overtaken his training. He was no longer thinking like a tactician. He was acting like a man with nothing left to lose. Execute Pattern Lambda, Amanda commanded. Show them everything we've got. Show them why Hope Valley exists. The facility responded with unmatched precision. From concealed positions, K9 teams emerged, their attacks perfectly synchronized. Every movement had been planned, every maneuver refined through months of innovation and relentless training. Hope Valley wasn't just a training facility, it was a fortress. Multiple targets neutralized, Kevin reported with satisfaction. El Fantasma's forces are breaking, they're starting to run. Amanda adjusted her thermal optics, tracking the cartel's remaining operators as they abandoned their positions. Their professional discipline had finally cracked. After hours of relentless engagement, they had been pushed to their limits by an enemy they had never truly understood. Hold the line, Amanda broadcasted. Don't let them regroup. Show them why military dogs are different from attack dogs. The battle wasn't over, not yet, but Hope Valley had already won. Rex Tucker moved like a shadow at Amanda's side, his every step mirroring her measured tactical awareness. These dogs weren't just trained animals, they were combat veterans, soldiers who understood the stakes just as well as their human handlers. El Fantasma is making his move, Jason reported suddenly. He's heading for the East Breach. Amanda's eyes flicked to the surveillance feeds. The cartel leader was attempting to reach his escape route, weaving through the wreckage and fallen bodies of his own men. But what he didn't realize was that Hope Valley had one final surprise waiting for him, a demonstration of why their K9 training methods had become legendary. Ghost, Thunder, execute Pattern Omega, Amanda commanded. Show him why you never underestimate American military dogs. The 2 dogs moved like phantoms through the shifting battlefield, their calculated steps silent, lethal. Every movement was precise, the result of years of specialized training designed for moments exactly like this. El Fantasma believed he had finally reached safety, but the moment he stepped into the clearing, his world shattered. Target contained, Kevin confirmed over the comms. Ghost and Thunder have him pinned, he's not going anywhere. Amanda exhaled as she zoomed in with her tactical scope, watching the cartel leader's final moments of freedom slip away. El Fantasma stood surrounded, military working dogs forming an unbreakable perimeter around him. His expression twisted as realization set in. He hadn't been defeated by an elite security force or a government strike team. He had been taken down by the very thing he had dismissed as mere training animals. "All units maintain tactical positions," Amanda ordered. "This isn't over until we have him in custody. Stay alert for any last-minute surprises." The night had proven everything Hope Valley stood for, not just the effectiveness of their training methods but the core principle behind it. Military working dogs weren't just individual assets, they were true tactical partners, capable of coordinated responses at the highest level. And tonight those principles had been put to the ultimate test. But El Fantasma wasn't finished yet. With the cold calculation of a cornered predator, the cartel leader assessed his situation. His posture changed, his shoulders squared, his stance shifted. Years of military training showed in the way he moved, in the way his eyes flicked between his captors, measuring every possible escape option. "He's got something in his hand," Kevin warned, studying the thermal imaging. "Some kind of remote trigger device." Amanda's grip tightened on her weapon. Through her tactical scope she tracked Ghost and Thunder as they maintained their containment positions, their discipline unwavering. They had been trained for situations like this, to detect, to react, but never to overcommit. "All handlers maintain distance," Amanda ordered. "Pattern Sigma active, to give him any openings." A flicker of movement on the perimeter caught her attention. Through the surveillance feeds she spotted El Fantasma's remaining operators attempting a last-ditch effort to reach their leader, but before they could get close, Rex 2 and Shadow intercepted, cutting them off with a precision maneuver that blocked every possible route. "Tangle's falling back," Jason confirmed. "They can't break through our containment grid." El Fantasma's voice carried through the compound, switching between Spanish and English as he addressed both his men and Hope Valley's defenders. "You think these dogs can hold me?" he sneered. "I've fought against better units than this in places you've never even heard of." Amanda studied his stance carefully. He wasn't bluffing. He was still thinking like a soldier, still calculating the odds. Every movement was deliberate, every shift in posture designed to keep his options open. But his confidence wouldn't change the outcome. "Pattern Omega 7, Amanda broadcasted. Show him exactly what these dogs can do." Hope Valley's K9 units adjusted in unison, their containment formation shifting into something more aggressive. They didn't just hold their positions, they executed complex, constricting maneuvers, slowly cutting off every remaining escape route. El Fantasma was being funneled, his movements restricted inch by inch, the walls of his final stand closing in around him. "Amanda," Rachel's voice came through the comms, urgent but controlled. "We're picking up unusual readings from that device he's holding. It's not just a detonator." Amanda's jaw tightened. Through her command scope she focused on the object in El Fantasma's grip. Rachel was right. This wasn't standard demolition equipment. The design was too advanced, the casing too reinforced. This was something else. "All units fall back to secondary positions," Amanda ordered immediately. "Implement Protocol Phoenix." El Fantasma let out a dark, humorless laugh, his voice carrying through the night. "Smart," he said, nodding slightly. "You recognize military-grade hardware when you see it, but the real question is," he lifted the device slightly, his fingers tightening around the trigger. "Do you know what this particular model does?" "Multiple energy signatures," Kevin reported, his voice sharp with urgency. "He's got something that could fry our electronic systems." Amanda's eyes remained locked on the screen, tracking every move El Fantasma made. Whatever he had left, whatever trick he thought would give him the upper hand, it wouldn't work. Hope Valley's defenders had trained for electronic warfare scenarios. Their systems were protected, their response teams disciplined, their K9 units unaffected by any technological interference. El Fantasma activated his device. A pulse radiated outward, an invisible wave designed to disable communications, scramble signals, and short-circuit anything unshielded. But Hope Valley's systems remained operational. And the dogs? The dogs didn't care. They didn't rely on electronic targeting or advanced sensors. Their instincts, their training, their unwavering discipline, that was their weapon. "Your tech won't save you," Amanda broadcasted through the comms. "These dogs don't need electronics to take you down." She watched as the cartel leader's expression twisted with frustration. His final advantage, the last ace up his sleeve, had failed. Ghost and Thunder responded with ruthless efficiency, their containment maneuver tightening, leaving him with nowhere left to run. The battle was over, and for the first time, El Fantasma knew it. "Status report?" Amanda demanded, moving swiftly between tactical positions. All wounded secure, Rachel responded. Dogs are maintaining combat effectiveness. We've got full containment of the target area. Around her, Hope Valley's defenders moved with the precision of a well-oiled machine. Each handler worked in seamless coordination with their canine partner, their trust absolute. Every motion was efficient, every command executed flawlessly. They weren't just fighting for their lives, they were proving beyond any doubt why Hope Valley's training program was revolutionary. He's reaching for something else, Jason warned suddenly, secondary weapon in his boot. Amanda zeroed in on the surveillance feed. El Fantasma was making his last desperate move, his fingers slipping toward the hidden blade tucked away in his boot, but before he could reach it, Rex 2 and Shadow reacted with lightning speed. In a perfectly timed intervention, the two K9s struck, knocking him to the ground, ensuring there would be no last-minute surprises. Target neutralized, Kevin confirmed moments later. Ghost and Thunder have him completely contained. Amanda exhaled slowly, watching as the once-feared cartel leader lay face down in the dirt, surrounded by military working dogs. The very animals he had dismissed as mere training tools were now the reason he had lost everything. Secure the prisoner, Amanda ordered. Pattern Delta active. Don't take any chances. He's still dangerous. Through the facility's advanced surveillance system, she watched as her teams executed a textbook prisoner securing operation. The handlers moved with tactical precision, covering all angles, while the dogs maintained absolute discipline, keeping El Fantasma pinned. He was captured, but Hope Valley's defenders weren't about to make the mistake of underestimating him. Multiple vehicles detected leaving the area, Kevin reported. His remaining forces are in full retreat. Amanda shifted her focus to the tactical display, watching as the remaining cartel forces abandoned their positions. Their professional discipline had finally shattered, their will to fight broken. They had spent the night watching their leader systematically outmaneuvered by the very thing they had disregarded, Hope Valley's K9 teams. They weren't just retreating, they were running. All units maintain defensive positions, Amanda ordered. This isn't over until we have full containment. Stay alert for any last-minute surprises. In the middle of the chaos, El Fantasma remained eerily calm. Now secured and under heavy guard, he sat motionless, watching Hope Valley's defenders with cold calculation. When he finally spoke, his voice carried a weight that made even Amanda take notice. You've trained them well, he acknowledged. But you don't understand what you've done. The cartel won't forget this. Amanda met his gaze, unflinching. Rex Tekken stood beside her, unwavering, a living testament to everything Hope Valley stood for. Remember that the next time you think about targeting a K9 facility, she replied. Through the compound speakers, Sheriff Thompson's voice broke through the tension, announcing the approach of state police units. The battle for Hope Valley was finally over, but its impact would be felt far beyond this night. Status on our wounded? Amanda asked, making her way toward the medical bunker. All stable, Rachel confirmed. The dogs performed beyond all expectations. Your training methods have been validated in actual combat conditions. Amanda nodded, her gaze sweeping over the facility. Hope Valley's defenders moved with purpose, securing their hard-won victory. Each handler remained at their post, working alongside their K9 partner to establish a proper perimeter. They weren't just celebrating a win, they were proving in every action why tonight had mattered. All units maintain tactical awareness, she ordered. We've won this battle, but stay focused until relief forces arrive. Dawn broke over Hope Valley, casting light on the devastation left behind. Smoke still curled from impact sites, bullet casings littered the ground, and the scars of the night's battle were evident across the facility. But Hope Valley still stood, and in its center the very reason for its survival. Handlers and dogs, side by side, a testament to the bond that had won them this fight. State police vehicles surrounded the facility, while FBI tactical teams secured the perimeter. The night had proven why military working dogs were considered force multipliers, why Hope Valley had been targeted, why its training methods had been feared. But more importantly, it had proven something else. These dogs had never stopped being warriors. They had simply found a new way to serve. Amanda supervised the handover of their high-value prisoner with the same sharp focus she had maintained throughout the battle. El Fantasma, Agent Julia Martinez read from her tablet. Real name Salvador Torres, former Mexican Special Forces turned cartel commander. This is a major capture. Through the reinforced windows, Amanda watched as Rex 2 and Ghost held their positions around the secure holding area. Even with the battle over and their prisoner in custody, the dogs remained on high alert, maintaining their disciplined stance. Their unwavering focus was a reminder of the warriors they had always been. "They never stopped being warriors," Amanda explained to the FBI agent. "We just gave them a new way to serve." As she spoke, her eyes remained on the surveillance feeds, monitoring the ongoing cleanup operation. Kevin coordinated with state authorities, ensuring a full debrief, while Jason supervised the K9 teams conducting the final security sweeps. Their efforts were methodical, ensuring no loose ends remained. Rachel joined them, holding a tablet filled with preliminary reports. 3 sectors with major structural damage, she summarized, but our core facilities remained intact. The layered defense worked exactly as designed. Agent Martinez studied the tactical displays that detailed the battle's progression. Her expression shifted as she took in the overwhelming scope of Hope Valley's defense. "You didn't just turn this place into a fortress," she observed. "You created something entirely new in K9 tactical operations." Amanda moved through the facility, inspecting damage and checking in with her teams. Handlers documented evidence while maintaining strict security protocols, ensuring that every engagement was accounted for. "Multiple weapons caches recovered," Kevin reported over the radio. "Military-grade equipment. El Fantasma committed serious resources to this attack." In the medical bunker, wounded handlers received treatment, but their canine partners refused to leave their sides. Even as medics worked, the dogs remained in protective positions, their bond with their handlers unshakable. "All patients stable," Rachel confirmed. "No critical injuries." The dogs' protective actions prevented what could have been much worse casualties. Outside, Thunder and Shadow coordinated perimeter security with arriving federal units. Their effortless integration with law enforcement highlighted why Hope Valley's training methods had become a game-changer in tactical operations. "Your dogs did more than just defend the facility," Agent Martinez noted as she observed the unfolding operation. "They proved an entirely new concept in integrated K9 response." Amanda's gaze shifted to another surveillance feed, where Diego worked alongside the evidence response teams. The German Shepherd, once plagued by PTSD, now displayed perfect focus as he helped document the scene. "Every dog here has a story," Amanda told Martinez. "Combat veterans, retired police K9s dogs that most people thought were done serving, we just showed them they still had more to give." State police forensics teams worked swiftly, photographing impact sites while federal analysts collected shell casings and explosive residue. The evidence painted a clear picture. This wasn't just a cartel attack. It had been a sophisticated tactical operation planned with precision. "Command, we've got movement at the north perimeter," Jason reported suddenly. "Looks like media vehicles approaching." Amanda's response was immediate. "Implement Protocol Shield. No unauthorized access. These dogs have earned their privacy." Through her tactical scope, she watched as Ghost and Thunder coordinated crowd control with local deputies. Despite the growing commotion at the facility's gates, the dogs remained composed, demonstrating their discipline even in high-pressure situations. 7 cartel vehicles recovered, Kevin added. Armor-modified technicals, military-grade weapons. They came prepared for a major operation. In the secure holding area, El Fantasma sat in silence, watching the activity unfold through bulletproof glass. His expression betrayed something unexpected: grudging respect. As his eyes followed Hope Valley's K9 teams in action, he finally spoke. "You've created something dangerous here," he said. Amanda checked the security provisions one final time before meeting his gaze. "The cartels won't forget this," he continued. "They'll study it, try to copy it." "Let them try," Amanda replied, Rex Tekken standing alert at her side. "These dogs aren't just trained animals, they're partners who chose to serve. That's something the cartels will never understand." Agent Martina reviewed body camera footage from the battle, her expression shifting with increasing appreciation. "This goes beyond standard K9 operations," she noted. "You've developed integrated tactical responses that could revolutionize law enforcement and military K9 deployment." Through the compound speakers, Rachel's voice announced medical updates. "All wounded handlers are stabilized. Their injuries stand as a testament to the effectiveness of Hope Valley's defensive protocols." The battle was over, but its impact was only beginning. Amanda moved through the command center, her focus unwavering despite the exhaustion that pressed at the edges of her mind. "Perimeter secure?" she asked, her voice firm. Perimeter secure, Jason confirmed through the comms. Dogs are maintaining tactical discipline despite fatigue. The training is holding even after extended operations. Around her, Hope Valley's defenders continued their professional response to the aftermath of the battle. Handlers worked side by side with their K9 partners, ensuring proper evidence collection while maintaining strict security protocols. Even now, there was no room for complacency. FBI evidence response teams are requesting access to the breach points, Kevin reported. They want to document the dog's tactical movements. Amanda studied the tactical display, analyzing the positioning of security forces. Even in victory, Hope Valley remained in a heightened state of readiness. All units maintain protocol compliance, she broadcasted. This isn't just about one battle, it's about proving everything these dogs can do. As the morning light crept over the landscape, more details of the night's combat came into view. The ground bore deep scars from explosive charges, while breach points showed evidence of sophisticated entry techniques. The cartel's tactics had been professional, almost military grade, but what stood out the most was the overwhelming evidence of how Hope Valley's K9 teams had responded with precision, discipline, and effectiveness, unlike anything ever seen before. Your facility's designation is being upgraded, Agent Martinez informed her. This level of tactical capability requires new security protocols. Through her command scope, Amanda watched Ghost and Thunder coordinate another perfect security sweep. Every movement was deliberate, every step precise, validating years of specialized training. We knew this would change things, Amanda acknowledged, her gaze unwavering. But these dogs have earned the right to show what they can really do. The sun climbed higher, illuminating Hope Valley's scarred but undefeated defenses. This battle had proven more than just the facility's security. It had demonstrated the unlimited potential of properly trained military working dogs. All units prepare for a detailed debrief, Amanda ordered. Tonight, we showed the world something new in K9 operations. Tomorrow, we start teaching others how to do it. As midday approached, Federal Task Force members swarmed the facility, documenting every shell casing, every impact point, and every detail of the unprecedented battle. Their movements were meticulous, building a comprehensive picture of how the night had unfolded. The Department of Defense is sending observers, Agent Martinez informed Amanda. What your dogs accomplished here has serious military implications. Through the command center's windows, Amanda observed Rex 2nd and Ghost coordinating security with federal tactical teams. The dogs operated seamlessly alongside conventional forces, demonstrating perfect integration. They're already calling it a game changer, Kevin reported, reviewing preliminary assessments. First documented case of a coordinated K9 tactical response against a military-grade assault. In the medical building, Rachel supervised the final checks on the wounded handlers. Their injuries told a story of unwavering commitment, of defenders who had placed their trust completely in their K9 partners. Every wound is from protecting their dogs, Rachel explained to federal investigators. That's what makes Hope Valley different, the absolute trust between handlers and K9s. Outside, Thunder and Shadow worked with forensic teams assisting in documenting the cartel's breach points. Despite their fatigue, the dogs maintained perfect discipline, never breaking focus even as the investigation progressed. Your training methods are revolutionary, Agent Martinez observed, watching the dogs at work. Integrated K9 teams operating as coordinated tactical units? Nobody thought it was possible. Amanda walked through the facility, inspecting the damage while monitoring the ongoing investigation. Every impact point, every breach attempt, validated the defensive design of Hope Valley. Multiple agencies are requesting briefings, Jason reported. Border Patrol, DEA, even foreign law enforcement. They all want to know how we did it. In the secure holding area, federal investigators questioned El Fantasma. His military background was evident in the way he analyzed the tactical aspects of the battle. You've changed the game, he admitted during a break in questioning. The cartels will have to completely rethink their approach to K9 units. Through the surveillance feeds, Amanda watched Diego assisting with explosive residue detection. The German Shepherd, once struggling with PTSD, now worked with perfect focus, proving why Hope Valley's rehabilitation programs were so effective. This goes beyond standard K9 operations, Amanda said, watching her team in action. We've developed integrated tactical responses that could revolutionize law enforcement and military K9 deployment. Through the compound speakers, Rachel's voice carried across the facility. All wounded handlers are stabilized. Their injuries stand as a testament to the effectiveness of Hope Valley's defensive protocols. The night had ended, but the battle's impact was only beginning. Amanda moved through the facility, inspecting the damage while monitoring the ongoing investigation. Each impact point, each breach attempt, validated Hope Valley's defensive design, reinforcing what they had built here. The evidence of the battle was undeniable, proof that military working dogs could stand as tactical equals alongside their human partners. Multiple agencies requesting briefings, Jason reported over the radio. Border Patrol, DEA, even foreign law enforcement, they all want to know how we did it. In the secure holding area, federal investigators questioned El Fantasma. His military background was apparent in the way he analyzed the battle's tactical aspects. Despite his defeat, his assessment was clinical, detached. "You've changed the game," he admitted to Amanda during a break in questioning. "The cartels will have to completely rethink their approach to K9 units." Through the facility's surveillance system, Amanda watched Diego assisting with explosive residue detection. The once troubled German Shepherd, who had struggled with PTSD, now moved with unwavering focus, his confidence fully restored. It was a testament to Hope Valley's rehabilitation programs, proof that even the most wounded warriors could find purpose again. In the medical building, Rachel briefed military medical officers on Hope Valley's innovative training methods. The wounded handlers' experiences provided crucial validation of the program's effectiveness. "It's not just about physical conditioning," Rachel explained. "These dogs understand tactical objectives. They think through complex scenarios. They adapt to changing situations." Outside, Thunder and Shadow assisted federal teams with detailed site documentation. Their movements were sharp, deliberate, demonstrating a level of tactical awareness that went beyond conventional K9 capabilities. "Your facility has redefined what's possible," Agent Martinez observed as she reviewed the gathered data. "This isn't just about security anymore, it's about the future of military and law enforcement K9 operations." Amanda continued her rounds, listening, analyzing, considering the broader implications. The battle had proven something beyond just the resilience of her defenders. It had set a new precedent. Multiple agencies requesting training partnerships, Jason reported over a secure channel. "Everyone wants to implement our methods now." In the secure conference room, senior officials reviewed El Fantasma's detailed confession. His military expertise lent credibility to his assessment of Hope Valley's effectiveness. "We thought we were targeting a standard training facility," he admitted during the debriefing. "Instead, we encountered something that will change how cartels operate along the entire border." Through the facility's cameras, Amanda watched Diego working alongside evidence response teams. The transformation of this once broken K9 into a fully confident tactical operator embodied everything Hope Valley stood for. "Each dog here represents possibility," Amanda told the gathered officials. "Not just for enhanced security but for understanding what these animals can really achieve when we trust them as true partners." Military observers pored over the battle's tactical displays, studying the key moments. The sophistication of Hope Valley's K9 teams forced a complete re-evaluation of working dog deployment doctrine. "Command, we've got senior staff arriving from multiple agencies," Kevin reported. "They're calling for an immediate review of national K9 training standards." Amanda remained focused on the immediate priorities. "Standard security protocols remain in effect," she responded. "These dogs have earned the right to set the pace for future developments." Through her tactical scope, she watched Ghost and Thunder coordinating with federal protective details. Even in the aftermath, the dogs moved with the same discipline and precision that had defined them throughout the battle. "Classification teams are already working on new protocols," Agent Martinez noted. "Your training methods are being designated as sensitive tactical innovations." In the training areas, military analysts documented the sophisticated scenarios that had prepared Hope Valley's defenders for unprecedented challenges. "This goes beyond enhanced security training," a Pentagon observer commented. "You've developed a completely new approach to tactical K9 integration." Amanda reviewed the preliminary findings while Rex too remained at her side, his posture alert. The documentation gathered would establish new standards for military working dog programs across the country. "All units maintain normal operations," she broadcasted. "Our mission continues, regardless of the attention we're receiving." Across the facility, Rachel coordinated with arriving military medical teams. The injured handlers' experiences provided invaluable data for refining K9 tactical operations. "Status update," Amanda requested, moving between analysis teams. "All documentation procedures on schedule," Jason confirmed. "Dogs are maintaining professional standards despite fatigue. The training fundamentals are holding." As senior officials examined every aspect of the operation, Hope Valley's defenders continued their duties without hesitation. Each handler and dog team demonstrated the effectiveness of true tactical partnership. Joint Chiefs representatives are requesting a full briefing, Kevin reported. They're talking about implementing your methods across all service branches. Amanda studied the command displays, now upgraded with military analysis software. The battle had validated everything she believed about the untapped potential of military working dogs. All units, prepare for detailed documentation, she ordered. What we've developed here needs to be shared correctly. These dogs have earned their place in tactical operations history. As the evening light softened the battle scars, the evidence of sophisticated combat remained. Proof of coordinated K9 response, validation of innovative tactical concepts, and a demonstration of unprecedented capabilities. Your security classification is being elevated again, Agent Martinez informed her. This level of tactical innovation requires special handling at the highest levels. Through her command scope, Amanda observed Shadow and Thunder assisting federal teams with final security sweeps. Their precision in movement solidified Hope Valley's impact on the future of K9. We expected attention after this, she acknowledged, but our fundamental mission remains unchanged. These dogs deserve the chance to show everyone what they can achieve. The facility continued its professional operations as agencies from across the country documented Hope Valley's breakthrough in tactical K9 deployment. This victory had done more than just stop a cartel attack, it had forced a complete re-evaluation of what working dogs were truly capable of. All units maintain standard protocols, she broadcasted. The real work begins now. We've shown what's possible. Next, we help others achieve the same level of excellence. As night fell again over Hope Valley, it brought security instead of threat. In the repaired command center, Amanda stood watching as her dogs patrolled alongside federal tactical teams. Every step they took, every movement they made, reinforced the discipline and precision that had secured their victory. Final casualty report, Rachel announced as she joined Amanda. All handlers will make a full recovery. The dogs protected them exactly as they were trained to do. Through the facility's advanced surveillance system, Amanda watched Rex Second and Ghost coordinating perimeter security. Even after 24 hours of continuous operations, they maintained perfect tactical discipline. The Pentagon has made their decision, Kevin reported, reviewing secure communications. They're implementing Hope Valley's training methods across all military K9 programs. In the medical building, wounded handlers received visits from senior military officials. Their first-hand accounts of trust in their K9 partners during combat provided powerful testimony in favor of Hope Valley's methodology. Every injury report shows the same thing, Rachel explained. The handlers trusted their dogs completely, and the dogs justified that trust with tactical precision. Outside, Thunder and Shadow worked with arriving military K9 training teams. The dogs' actions, calculated, disciplined, unwavering, demonstrated the sophisticated tactical awareness that would now reshape working dog programs nationwide. You've started something revolutionary, Agent Martinez observed. Every law enforcement agency in the country wants to learn your methods now. Amanda moved through the facility, inspecting repairs while considering the future. Each impact point, each battle scar, was validation of everything Hope Valley stood for. Training requests coming in from around the world, Jason reported. Military, law enforcement, even foreign agencies, they all want to understand how we did this. Hope Valley had proven itself, but the mission wasn't over, it was only beginning. In the secure conference room, the final debriefings came to a close. El Fantasma's detailed tactical analysis became part of the official record, documenting Hope Valley's groundbreaking advancements in K9 operations. We never understood what we were really facing, the cartel leader admitted. These aren't just trained dogs, they're tactical partners, capable of coordinated warfare. Through the facility's surveillance feeds, Amanda watched Diego conducting a final security sweep. The German Shepherd moved with quiet confidence, a stark contrast to the anxious, PTSD-affected dog that had arrived at Hope Valley months ago. His transformation embodied everything the facility stood for, proof that even the most broken warriors could find new purpose. Each dog here represents potential, Amanda told the departing officials, not just for enhanced security but for understanding what happens when we trust these animals as true tactical partners. Military observers completed their final analysis of the battle footage. The sophistication of Hope Valley's K9 teams forced a complete revision of working dog deployment doctrine. "Command, we've got the Secretary of Defense's assessment," Kevin reported. "They're calling this a watershed moment in military K9 operations." Amanda listened, but her focus remained on the core principles that had led them to this moment. "Standard protocols remain in effect," she said firmly. "These dogs earned their victory through discipline and training. We honor that by maintaining our standards." Through her tactical scope, she watched Ghost and Thunder coordinating with military security details. Even in the aftermath, they moved with the same precision and discipline that had defined the battle. These weren't just well-trained dogs, they were professionals, forces to be reckoned with. "Your facility is being designated as the National Center for Advanced K9 Tactical Training," Agent Martinez informed her. "Everything you developed here will shape the future of working dog programs." In the training areas, military teams documented the sophisticated scenarios that had prepared Hope Valley's defenders for an assault no one thought could be repelled. "This goes beyond enhanced security measures," a senior military observer noted. "You've revolutionized how we think about tactical K9 integration." Amanda reviewed the final reports while Rex 2 remained at her side, his unwavering presence a reminder of everything they had fought for. The documentation gathered would allow other facilities to implement Hope Valley's innovative methods the right way. "All units maintain standard operations," she broadcasted. "Our mission continues. What we achieved here is just the beginning." Across the facility, Rachel coordinated with military medical teams. The injured handlers' experiences would serve as valuable data for refining K9 tactical operations across all service branches. "Final status report," Amanda requested, moving between command positions. "All systems restored to full operation," Jason confirmed. "Dogs are maintaining professional standards. The training fundamentals hold under any conditions." Around her, Hope Valley's defenders continued their work, transitioning from the battlefield to the next phase of their mission. Each handler and K9 team demonstrated why their methods would soon reshape K9 operations on a global scale. "Joint Chiefs have approved full implementation," Kevin reported. "Your training program is now the standard for all military working dog units." Amanda studied the command displays, considering what this meant for the future. The battle had validated everything she had believed about the untapped potential of military working dogs. "All units, prepare for transition," she ordered. "What we've achieved here needs to be shared properly. These dogs have shown everyone what's possible." The night deepened, but Hope Valley's legacy was only beginning. The evidence of the battle, sophisticated tactical operations, proof of coordinated K9 response, and validation of innovative training methods would shape the future of working dog programs for years to come. "Your success changes everything," Agent Martinez told her. "Every K9 unit in the country will train to your standards now." Through her command scope, Amanda watched Shadow and Thunder assisting military observers with final assessments. The dogs moved with an effortless precision that proved Hope Valley's methods would define the future of K9 operations. "We knew this would change things," she acknowledged. "But our core mission remains the same. These dogs deserve the chance to show the world what they can really achieve." The facility hummed with renewed purpose as Hope Valley prepared to share its breakthrough in tactical K9 deployment. This victory had done more than stop a cartel attack. It had rewritten the rules of modern warfare. It had proven that military working dogs weren't just support units. They were warriors in their own right. "All units, prepare for the future," Amanda broadcasted. "We've shown what's possible. Now we help others achieve the same excellence. That's how we honor what these dogs accomplished here." Rex pressed against her leg, his posture steady, his presence a quiet reassurance that their work was not yet finished. These weren't just trained animals, they were warriors, ones who had never stopped serving, and thanks to Hope Valley, they would continue to serve in ways no one had ever thought possible. Up next, 2 more incredible stories are waiting for you right on your screen. If you enjoyed this one, you won't want to miss them, just click to watch. And don't forget to subscribe, it would mean a lot.